Looking to grow your business or organization? Launch a podcast or social media campaign? At Empowered Marketing and Media, we help small businesses, nonprofits, churches, and community leaders share their voice, vision, and passion with the world. From branding and web design to content creation and social media strategy, we've got you covered with solutions that are affordable, creative, and built around your story. Visit empoweredmktmedia.com or email us at admin@empoweredmktmedia.com to get started. Empowered Marketing and Media, because your story deserves to be seen and heard.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Snap Decisions. We are in Galactus month. I never thought I'd be saying that. Obviously, the story behind me and the Galactus card in the game and stuff, and how that was my first big card that I got, like the first of those. I forget how they were designated back then, but the first one of those really rare cards that I got and stuff like that, which was kind of fitting because I'm such a fan of the character. But it is Heralds of Galactus month. It just started yesterday. And we're going to go over a lot about the month. Of course, I will be doing my ranking, the card ranking, which I will do in the spin today. I will be talking about the card. I got a chance to play with it quite a bit yesterday. And while people are saying it's kind of meh, and I know Binks wasn't very high on it. Regis really liked it, of course, because he's a big Galactus fan. Binks is too, but he really wasn't high on it. Or the other couple cards that people were talking to him about, the other cards that came out, wasn't really high on any of those either, especially Terrax. He said he hates the card. But I will be ranking all of those cards, letting you know exactly which ones I like and which ones I think are going to be good. Also talk about the gameplay yesterday and stuff like that with Galactus. One of the decks I played, which is really a lot of fun, it almost uses the First Steps Galactus as a decoy in a way. So I'll explain all that. We have 2 listener call-in questions this week, so thank you and shout out to those people. One of them, I apologize, I did not see. It was on my Discord, or I'm sorry, where was it? It was in my Discord GMs. And I'm so bad with Discord. But I hadn't checked them, and it's been there for a bit. So I apologize to that person. I will name that person in a bit. But I do have 2 questions today, so that's cool. I do have a countdown today as well, and they are the must-read Galactus comics. So 5 Galactus comic books you have to read if you are, maybe you're a fan, maybe you don't know a lot about the character. But I will go over those in the countdown segment today. And then, of course, we will talk about the... I don't think I'm going to talk about the OTA. I mentioned that last week. But we'll talk about the end of the latest mode and how that went for me. And then, of course, we will get into some other things. We will talk in Comics Corner about Galactus. Which is going to be a lot of fun for me too, since I get to discuss my one of my favorite villains in superhero history, and I get to discuss him in Comics Corner, which will be fun. Then, of course, we'll go to the comic pull list and which books I'm getting this week, and then we'll head on over to the MCU Minute, and it is all about Spider-Man right now, all about Spider-Man. Unfortunately, the Fantastic Four movie kind of bombed out on its second week. And there's just a lot of people talking about that. Of course, a lot of the geek channels and stuff like that on YouTube are naysaying, and they're saying, is the MCU finished? They're trying to garner the headlines, right? But, they're saying, is it done? Are people just tired of it and stuff like that? Fatigue and this and that. I'll go over that a little bit in the MCU Minute as well, and my thoughts on what could be the reasoning behind that. And mine are probably a little bit different than some of the ones that you've gotten from maybe some of those other channels if you happen to watch them. So a lot to talk about today on the pod, as usual. And it's more just a brighter week, a more fun week. I keep sharing my pictures of my popcorn bucket that I absolutely love too, the Galactus one. It's funny, I ended up getting one, and then the eyes didn't work. One of the eyes did, but the other one didn't, which I've read about it online, and people have been saying that they've run into that. A lot of them were able to just fix it by taking off the cover where the wires are and stuff like that, which I tried, but it didn't work. But then some of them said that they had to resolder wires on. Well, I have no clue how to solder wires, so that wasn't going to happen. But then, as luck would have it, I entered a contest, and I ended up winning one, which was amazing. Like 2 days later, I found out I won one. So that one came today, and that one thankfully works. The lights are working and stuff like that. So I now have a working Galactus with the lights. The lights are pretty cool. Like it's so big that if it's dark in the room and you have it turned on, it'll light up the room a little bit, which is neat. But I'm just kind of glad I have it. It's really, really cool, gigantic. It is huge. I mean, you put popcorn in that thing, you're going to be eating popcorn for hours, which I wouldn't put anything in there anyway. I mean, I know it's plastic and stuff, but the way it's set up, it would be very, very hard to clean out if you stuck buttered popcorn in there. So, it'd be very hard to get the grease and stuff out of there. So that will not see popcorn or any type of food. But it looks cool on the shelf. I posted a picture of my shelf, my Galactus shrine, if you will, with the popcorn bucket in the middle. And then I did get the overseas Galactus Marvel Snap card. They were selling the original set of Marvel Snap as with acrylics. So it's really the only way you could collect them is by getting them over there. But it was cool. It came with the original. But it looks like the original Galactus card, but it comes on a base. It stands on a base, little plastic thing. Basically, it's just the outline of Galactus and just stands on the base. And the base it stands on is the world ship, which is cool. And then it comes with a keychain of that as well. So it was kind of worth it. It was I think it was $15, so it wasn't bad. But you can get, there's any number of I think they might have done most of the initial set that way. But you can only get them overseas. They were sold in packs, so I guess you didn't know which one you were going to get, and they're probably rare. But would have been a cool thing for them to bring over here. But of course, like the Chinese/Japanese version of the game, we kind of get shafted on that for whatever reason. And then of course I have my Funko on the shelf too. I need another Galactus Funko, though. I need a big one. I know they make the bigger ones, but I only have the small one. But I need to get the bigger one. I might get the First Steps one. I did see it around, so I'm going to have to do that. But yeah, so that was my week in Galactus. But yeah, so lots of stuff to talk about. Like I said, as usual, and we are going to get into it. Of course, yesterday was a big day in Snap because, of course, the new season. But we also got a ton of cards. When they do that. Now, they did that for us a few months ago where they put out a couple of... was done a little differently, though, I noticed this time. The Series 4... I ended up having to buy 2 of the Series 4 packs this time around, whereas the last time they had them dumped all in one pack. So that didn't happen, but I ended up getting all of the cards. I got Terrax and the other cards, of course, that came out yesterday. But yeah, so let's dig into it. Let's get into the spin. And, I also will have, remember I talked to you guys, I was going to do this. I also will have my new lyric game. So my Guess the Lyric game. And, again, no real prizes until I can figure it out. If I can figure out how to do that, in the new shop, I will do that. And I'll give out a gold pass every now and then. But this week's is just going to be, who gets it first type of thing. You'll get a shout out. But it's an easy one, I think. It's an easy one. I will say, I'll give you a little hint. It's from the 80s. So I will get to the lyrical thing too. I need a name for it too. I have to figure out a name for that for that as well. But yeah, so I did get all the cards. I got Stardust, Terrax, Redshift, and of course Galactus and the Silver Surfer. So yes, I did get Silver Surfer. But yeah, but yeah, Binks was talking last night on his stream how he hates Terrax. He thinks it's one of the worst cards they ever made. He was playing with Redshift, as I was kind of playing with it yesterday too. I was playing with a deck that Dexter created, which was a Black Knight deck, Black Knight Agatha deck with Redshift, because you could just discard the Agatha very easily, and similar to the one Binks was playing last night too. He didn't even care for Silver Surfer very much. I don't know if he got it, but he didn't care for it. He said Galactus is just a big body. This is like another big card, everybody's comparing it to Red Hulk. And he said it was just another big card. And then he kind of said Redshift was kind of meh, okay. And he didn't think Stardust was good either. Now, Stardust, I don't know, man. Stardust to me seems extremely powerful. And I'm going to go over the list. There is a list made of cards that are affected by Stardust. The thing with Stardust is he's a lot like Mobius and Mobius, where you're not going to notice what it's doing for you. But trust me, I mean, one of the best players in this game, Safety Blade mentioned yesterday in Discord that he's going to put it in every deck. And literally, it to me, I think it's that good where you can put it in every deck too. It just takes care of so many things. And again, you're not going to notice it, but it's not going to say, hey, I'm stopping this or I'm stopping that. You're not going to notice it, but there's just a lot, especially against destroy decks. Oh man, are they going to have a problem against this card? But I don't know. But I'll read that list off later as well. So, all right, let's get into the spin, shall we? And we will talk about the new cards. We'll talk about the August cards, and we'll get into each and every card. We'll go down the list here. So first off, I'm going to start off with the G-Man himself. Now, this is First Steps Galactus. It's a designation. I know there's people complaining, whining, whatnot about, I don't like it when they reprint old cards. Oh, please. Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Card games throughout the years, even Magic, for instance, right? For as many cards as they've made, they've even done, now they don't call them maybe the same thing, but essentially it's the same card, right? Like Lightning Bolt did 3 damage, and they came out with an Incinerate that did 3 damage. It's the same damn thing. It's just called something else. So who cares? Like really, if you're going to nitpick about that, I don't know, go touch grass. There's better things to nitpick in this game than them making different cards. I mean, eventually they're going to make every card, and there's a lot of characters and cards still out there. I mean, Marvel Zombies is coming up. You're gonna get redone cards for that too, because they're all the same characters that we probably already have in the game. In base mode, they're just going to be in the Marvel Zombies mode. So please, yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a lot worse things to complain about in the game than them reprinting cards. But anyway, Galactus is a 6/12. My Herald is the next character I see you play. I wish I had Ralph Ineson's voice. My Herald is the next character I see you play. End of turn +2 power if you're winning my Herald's location. If in hand or in play. I need a much more booming voice. And then of course we have the Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer, First Steps as well. Of course, this is the Shala Ball Silver Surfer. End of turn, if you're winning this location with an on-reveal card, copy its text. So it's allowing you to copy an on-reveal card. You can literally copy the other Surfer. You can play the other Surfer on turn 5, and then play this down on turn 6 at the same location. You're going to copy it. You're going to do it twice. So it's just one of the uses for it. But then we have the cards that were released this week. We have Stardust. Ongoing cards, ongoing. Cards can't be added to locations except by playing or moving them. The list is huge. Redshift is a 2/3. Stardust is a 4/7, by the way. So pretty good stat line. I mean, now granted, that's the thing with him, right? Is he does cost 4. So unless you're cheating cards out, he is going to be a little tough to get out right away. So, those cards that he stops and everything like that, yes, but, it's not going to really affect it till after he gets into play unless you cheat him out somehow, some other way. But so that is a little bit of a drawback there. Redshift is a 2/3. On reveal, discard the leftmost card in your hand to add a random card with the same cost to your hand. Then we got Terrax, the Tamer. On reveal for each location, shuffle a rock into the losing player's deck. We have Frankie Ray as Nova, 2/3. After the next time you play a 6-cost card, double this card's power. So she would go well with Galactus. The new Galactus, she'd go to 2/6. Then we have the Fallen One, 5/5. On reveal, set your max energy equal to this card's power. A lot of people are liking this one, but again, you're not going to get to play this until very end of the game, or unless you cheat it out somehow. But so I don't know. Then we have Cosmic Ghost Riders, a 5/7. This is a great character. I can't wait to talk about him in the corner. On reveal, remove the text from front row enemy cards here. Then we have Airwalker. Airwalker's a 3/3. When this is destroyed, replace it with a 4-cost card from your hand or your deck. And then we have Firelord. Firelord's a 4/6. On reveal, revive one of your discarded or destroyed 3-cost cards here. So they are the cards. All right. Let me see here where we're going to start. Ranking-wise, I am going to... I don't know. I'm going to start with... I'm going to start with Frankie Ray, and only because I think it's just boring. I mean, it's going to be a 2/6. Doubles when you play a 6-cost card. So, it's. I guess it would be a lot of times though. You're playing 6-cost cards on the final turn. Again, unless you get it cheated out somehow. I don't know. Maybe this is a good card in like that Ghost Rider Agatha deck that I was talking about, because you're going to cheat out big cards early in that and stuff like that with Agatha and things. So I don't know. I really don't know where this card fits. And for the fact that it only works when you play a 6-cost card, Hela maybe, but Hela... I don't know if Hela's even going to exist in a little bit because of that other card. But yeah, I don't know. I just really don't see where she fits. It's going to be a 2/6 is going to be the highest it's going to go, which I guess is pretty good. But, when are you going to play it? If you're waiting to play 6-cost cards till the end of the game, till the last turn, you're certainly not going to play this along with it. So I don't know. Maybe in like a Sauron deck, like Big Dumb Idiots, when you're playing, but even that though, you're playing Ares, you're playing Red Skull on turn 5, you're not really playing any 6-cost cards. You're going to play a Scar maybe in that, but that's not going to be 6-cost when it plays. So I don't know. I just don't really see a home for her. I don't think she's a horrible card stat line wise, but I just don't see a really good home for her. So I'm going to start at the bottom with Frankie Ray. Now we're going to rank a total of, we've got 10 cards to rank here. So number 9, I'm going to go, number 9, I'm going to go with Terrax at number 9. And really, this is only because I'm not a Darkhawk player. I saw Dexter and I saw others playing Darkhawk lists with this card yesterday. So I don't know. And there are a lot of people that love Darkhawk, that swear by the card and still play it today. So I don't know. Maybe this makes the Darkhawk deck, along with Rock Slide and Korg and all that kind of stuff, just to kind of add to it. It is shuffling rocks into your opponent's deck. That always is disruptive because you'll end up getting rocks instead of the cards you need and things like that. And of course, it gives you a big Darkhawk as well. So, But the card just not for me, and I don't really see myself playing it because, again, I'm not really a Darkhawk player. So that's going to be my number 9 card. Number 8, I'm going to go with Airwalker here. Again, kind of a weird card. When this is destroyed, so it's obviously you're going to have it in a destroyed deck. And I don't know. I mean, you'd probably, I guess, want to use it in like a Dormammu deck, because to get the Dormammu thing going, and you want to kind of destroy your own cards. But it's saying replace it with a 4-cost card from your hand or deck. So I guess it would work in a Dormammu deck. It's probably going to be your best bet for it. But again, destroy is not something I play or do much with. Dormammu I tried a few times when it first came out, but I'm not a fan of it. And it just, to me, it takes too much to do what it does. And you could still, it's very easy to telegraph it too, and kind of just play around it. So Airwalker is going to be my number 8. So that's Frankie Ray, Terrax, and then Airwalker. Number 7. Number 7, I'm going to go with Cosmic Ghost Rider. When I read this card initially, I thought it was going to be really, really powerful, but the stat line's rough too. Again, you're not getting it out till turn 5. The only thing this is really going to help is going to be, now, it could help against these meta decks right now, right? Because they're relying on Invisible Woman, and all those other cards, Prodigy and everything like that. Now, if you played this on turn 5, and your opponent already had some established Invisible Women in a lane, if you play it, you would remove the text from those Invisible Women. So, and then I would imagine, I wonder what that does then to Prodigy. If Prodigy's behind Invisible Woman, but you could wreck those decks, so that may help out against those. So this will be a good anti-meta card for those decks, I guess, because it would hurt the Sunspot, it would hurt the Athena, it would wipe out a lot of that. But again, it's only the front row cards, so they would have to have played them out earlier. But I guess in a way, in that respect, because of the meta right now, because everybody is playing those Invisible Woman decks, still are in the new season. So if those last without getting zapped by second dinner in an OTA, then maybe it would work okay in there. But other than that, again, like being a 5/7, I don't really see it being that good. Of course, against like ongoing lists and stuff like that, but we're not really seeing much of that anymore. Even the Thanos ongoing lists aren't being played all that much. So I'm gonna put Cosmic Ghost Rider at number 7. Number 6. I'm gonna put number 6. I'm gonna put Redshift. Redshift is pretty good. Again, I haven't really seen him being used in discard yet. Like just a standard discard list. I kind of thought that maybe he would appear in something like that, but he does seem pretty well fitted for Black Knight, especially Black Knight Agatha, because again, Agatha is always going to stay in the left-hand spot in your hand, so you're always going to be able to discard her with him. And was working out pretty good, but again, is Black Knight the best shell out there right now? And in the samples I saw when Dexter was playing it, when Binks was playing it, Binks was winning some games, but he's losing some games, and it does seem like they're still losing to the Invisible Woman decks and things like that, and just really anything that goes high, and also anything that plays Shang-Chi. You're just gonna, if you get the Black Knight out, and that's the whole thing with Black Knight decks, and that's what never seems to happen with me, is I never seem to get the Black Knight out on time. Obviously, if you get it, then the 4/14 sword can't be destroyed, so that makes it that much better. But many times you just don't get the card, And then that makes it tough. And yes, you will get, if you're playing Ghost Rider, you'll have a big, you'll bring Agatha back at some point in a lane, and you'll have a big lane there. And then, it depends on what else you're playing in the deck. But yeah, the card seems cool and everything, that you can dictate that you can discard that leftmost card other than the rightmost card, which you are always able to do in discard. But I'd like to see it played in just like discard shells and see how it works in those, because so far all I've seen is Black Knight decks. But in any case, I'm going to go Red Shift as my number 6. Let me make sure I got that right. Frankie Ray was 10. We did Airwalker. We did Terrax. That's 1, 2, 3. Cosmic Ghost Rider is 4. Red Shift is 5. Yeah, we have 5 cards left. My number 5, I'm going to go with Fire Lord. Fire Lord, again, on reveal or revive, one of your discarded or destroyed 3-cost cards here. Now that's going to be, that's going to be pretty good for destroy. That's going to be pretty decent for discard too. These revival cards and stuff like that are they're pretty good at times. This one is a targeted 3-cost one. So again, you could bring back a Venom to destroy something else and things like that. So, I in that respect, I think it's a little more targeted. I think it's pretty decent. So I'm going to go with that as number 5. Number 4, I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with the G-Man here. I'm going to go with Galactus First Steps as my number 4. Again, I'll let you know what deck I'm using him in. But I find I'm using him more as a decoy than kind of anything else. He can get big, but the whole point about him is you have to draw him. You have to have him in your hand. And if you don't, it makes it very difficult. I think Lambie described it best. He's going to be a Hulk. He's basically a Hulk if you don't draw him. So, and how many times are you probably going to be playing him just as a 6/12? Maybe you will, because you're stuck for a last turn play. But in many of these decks, you're going to have other stuff in there that you could just play out. So it's a fun version. I'm just happy to be playing Galactus in any form again, to be honest. But Galactus is my number 4. Number 3, I'm going to go number 3 with Fallen One here. Fallen One, on reveal, set your max energy equal to this card's power. So your max energy is going to be when he reveals. Now he can't be placed out until turn 5. Again, unless there's cheating going on. So he's going to set your max energy equal to the card's power. So this is going to be one that's going to be in those buff decks. Because if you buff him, you Gwenpool him or whatever the case might be, if you buff him in any way, it's going to give you a big boatload of energy on turn 6 that you can use for the last turn of the game. So in that respect, it's almost kind of like a better Wiccan in a way. So you're going to have a big ton of energy to play out on your last turn. So I think that's pretty good. Energy is good. So he is my number 3. My number 2 is I am going to go with Silver Surfer First Steps here. Of course, 3/4, end of turn. If you're winning this location with an on-reveal card, copy its text. So it's a pretty powerful thing. If you're just winning a lane with an on-reveal card that's in that lane, then this card is going to copy. And I just mentioned one aspect of it, and it could copy a Silver Surfer. And that's just one thing. And Silver Surfer decks are already pretty strong, but I'm sure there's a lot of other things you could do by copying an on reveal. If you're going to play one of those Darkhawk decks, if you're winning the lane, you can copy the text of the Rock Slide or any of the other things and just give them even more rocks. I know people have been playing a little bit again with Master Mold. You can copy the text of Master Mold with it. So there's a lot of things you could do here that can copy an on reveal. Maybe throw a gore in your deck, and you could just have at that with all the on reveals that you're playing and things like that. So just a pretty good overall card. I think in the stat line is pretty decent. So she is my number 2. And my number 1, and I know some people might think I'm nuts. Obviously, Binks does because he thinks this card is bad. Stardust is my number 1. Again, I think that this is going to be one of the ultimate tech cards in the game. I think people are going to, and Binks might hate it. I think he alluded to it a little bit later on in his stream. He may hate it because of what it does. And I think, to be honest with you guys, I think a lot of people are going to hate this card for what it does. And let's get into that right now, okay? This was made by Snap.fan. Cards affected by Stardust. Wait till you hear this list. Airwalker, Angel. Now again, you're going to hear some cards that aren't played much. Angel, you only see played by bots. That's how you know you're playing a bot. They're going to play a Destroy deck with Angel in it. Arnim Zola. I can't tell you how many times I've lost to Arnim Zola. Between Wong Arnim Zola decks, between Black Panther Arnim Zola decks, between Mr. Negative using Arnim Zola with Null. Can't tell you how many times I got beat by that card. Destroy itself, when it gets out the Null early because of X23, and then it's able to do Arnim Zola the Null, or Arnim Zola a Death, or whatever the other big card. And you're going to also see in this list, Destroy is really screwed. Destroy is really screwed by this card. So if you want an anti-tech card, you're sick of getting beat by Destroy, and you want an anti-tech card for Destroy, well, you better play this card. Baron Zemo. Obviously, he's not played as much anymore, but people still play Mill. I've told you in the past on past episodes that they insist on playing Mill no matter how bad it really is. I played at least 3 or 4 games against Mill decks yesterday. I beat every one of them, but they still insist on playing it. Not sure why. I guess maybe because it's easy to play. I don't know. But it stops Baron Zemo because Baron Zemo will not pull the card. Right? Now, again, just keep in mind that, take into consideration the fact that the card it costs 4. So if they get the Baron Zemo out early, then of course, it would go off. So, it's not going to stop it in that respect. Blink. It stops Blink. It stops Brood. How about that one? That's gonna really be tough on these buff decks. These buff decks would like to play Brood out later, as does Silver Surfer. Now they're gonna have to be conscious about playing that out early because you're gonna get literally 1 Brood. That's it. You're not gonna get any copies. So that's pretty rough one there. Bucky Barnes added to that Destroy list. You're gonna see. Debris, it stops the rocks. No rocks from Debris. So this is also an anti-clog card as well. And you're going to see other cards in here that are going to work with, are going to be clog cards also that it will not help anymore. Dr. Doom, no Doom bots. No Doom bots, along with Doom 2099. No Doom bots. So you will completely wipe out any plans that somebody had that's playing a Doom deck. So Doom, a lot of people were kind of happy. They buffed it a little bit. It came back a little bit. Well, guess what? It's going to be gone again because if anybody plays this card, there are no Dooms. No Doom bots and no Dooms, and you're crap out of luck. Dr. Octopus, another clog card, will not pull a card out of your opponent's hand. Dormammu. That's another big one for Destroy, right? Destroy, I'm telling you, is getting whacked with this card. Whacked. Elixir. Yeah, what is that? Eson, I see a lot of people playing that Eson list with Agamotto and all that, and Merlin and everything. I've seen that a bunch. No more of that. Eson is not going to pull out cards. Fenris Wolf. A lot of people right now playing Fenris Wolf. With those lists where they have the Shang-Chi and they destroy it and they bring it back with Fenris. No more of that. Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider can't pull the card back. Gladiator. A lot of people playing Gladiator right now as well. No pulling of the card. Hela. Hela's just dead. Hela's dead. This card absolutely wipes out Hela in the last turn. It does not pull any cards. So it wipes out Hela. Hela is Hela's shot. If anybody plays this card, you will not lose to a Hela because they can't do what they want to do. Infinity Ultron had a little bit of life there when it got all the buffs and stuff like that, but I guess that's over with. Jubilee doesn't pull the card. Khonshu, same thing. Khonshu got popular with the Khonshu discard. Yep, no more Lockjaw. So I saw a bunch of people playing with Lockjaw decks yesterday. Maybe they're getting it out of their system because no more of that. Luna Snow. Luna Snow has become pretty popular in a lot of people's decks. No more ice cubes from Luna Snow, so no more getting any extra energy from Luna Snow. M'Baku, nobody plays it, but he will not jump from anyone's deck. Makari, same thing, will not jump out of the deck. Malekith, you don't get that hidden card. Mr. Sinister, you get one copy. Multiple Man. Nimrod. So many people playing the Nimrod lists right now with Kid Omega and all that. No Nimrod copies. Phoenix Force. Well, Phoenix Force kind of dead anyway. Haven't really seen anyone playing that list in quite some time. But it doesn't work anymore. Proxima Midnight will not jump out of the player's hand in discard. Red Wing. Say goodbye to those. They were unpopular the way it was. People were trying to make Red Wing work quite a bit. And it would pull out the big Infinite or whatever from their deck. Nope, not anymore. Scarlet Spider, same thing there. A lot of people playing that in those buff decks. This really does hurt the buff decks too. With Brood, with Mr. Sinister, with Scarlet Spider. So it really, really hurts the buff decks. Shauna and Squirrel Girl for Zoo. So neither one of them. Shauna will not give you the extra cards, and Squirrel Girl will not give you squirrels. Leader, null and void, will not copy anything. Ultron. I can't tell you how many of the low collection level players that I have been playing in this game that are playing Ultron decks. And, again, I'm obviously not going to blame them for it. And that's what they have in their collection, so that's what they use. And many times, no matter if you have a big collection level or not, you can still get caught off guard by an Ultron if you don't have proper tech for it. And they get out all the other cards, and then they play the Ultron last turn when they're all buffed up. You can still easily lose to it. Well, Ultron will not create any Ultron bots. So that is null and void as well. Uncle Ben will not create Spider-Man. White Tiger will not create a Tiger. Does kind of hurt that White Tiger, Black Panther Zemo deck for sure. White Widow, no negative card on the other side. Wolverine, X-23. This is what I'm telling you about Destroy. Destroy is one hurting puppy if people play this card. No Zemo, no Bucky, no X-23, no Wolverine. What else? No Dormammu. I mean, Destroy is wiped clean, pretty much. I mean, X-23 is that's the essential card to that deck. If they ever would nerf X-23, that deck would be gone, all but gone, because it gives them the ability to play those cards earlier than they can. Also, Rhino will not give the Rock, and Sentry is actually a good one of the list because he will not produce the Void. Although a lot of people like that, especially the ones that are playing it in Clog. Well, again, another one that hits Clog. If they're playing the Sentry version of Clog, it will not allow that either. So that list is immense. And if this card stays the way it is, and they don't do anything to change it, it is going to affect a ton of stuff. And people are not going to be happy with it. So that could be why Binks was saying he doesn't like the card. But after that list, you can see how powerful this card is going to be. There's a lot of decks that days are numbered if people are playing this. And again, people will see it on the board, but they're going to have to get all their work in and their work done before this card gets out on turn 4. And again, unless you somehow have the extra energy where you can get it out early, they're cooked. They're absolutely cooked. And turn 4, Destroy's still doing its thing. Dormammu normally waits till turn 6. The Wolverine bounces around, the X-23 bounces around, so that's going to end their game basically on turn 4. So, like it or not, it's out. It's a good card, and it is my number 1 card of the month. And again, this is coming from one of the best players in the game, Safety Blade, saying how good it was and how he's going to have this card in every deck. And if you're getting beat by a lot of these deck types, whether it be Destroy, whether it be Clog, whether it be Buff, all that's enough to just include it. If you're losing to some of those decks, if the deck you're playing happens to be one that doesn't compete with a lot of those decks or gets beat by those decks, well, now you have an answer for it. So, all right, well, there you go. That is my tier list and my ranking for the cards of this upcoming month. So, next up, we're gonna talk a little bit about the Grand Arena, kind of finishing that up, and I ended up getting both the new cards. I got Mole Man and I got Mad Thinker. Mole Man seems kind of okay, maybe in certain decks. I've seen some people starting to use it a little bit on ladder when I was playing yesterday. And, it does give you those extra rocks to play, and they're usually kind of cheap. Sometimes they're, I had it where it worked out where I had 1/6s. So it's kind of a nice last turn play where you could just put out a couple 1/6s on the last turn. So I was able to do that. I got a couple of the purple borders, which was cool because I put one right on the new Galactus First Steps, and I put one on my old Galactus as well. So I got a couple of those. I got the Thing emote. I'm going to go into it here. And let's see what else. I didn't get any of the portal cards. I didn't see the need. I don't really play with many of those cards. Invisible Woman, I know some people are kind of starting to play with her again as a tech card, to play like you hide the Killmonger and all that kind of stuff, for these new meta decks with Sunspot and Invisible Woman, so you can kill the Sunspots at the very last turn. But I didn't feel the need to get any of these. Mr. Fantastic, again, don't play that much either. Even in ongoing lists, he doesn't get played all that much. And then Doctor Doom. And now you heard what I mentioned about Doctor Doom. With this new card, I don't know that anybody's going to be playing Doom decks anymore. So I didn't do any of that. The rotating offers, I really didn't get. A lot of those were just various variants and stuff. And I didn't feel the red cosmic border. The other emotes, the Pedro Pascal from Mr. Fantastic emote, the Human Torch. The Human Torch one looks kind of dumb. Kind of looks like he's throwing a tantrum. And looks a little weird. And then the Vincenzo Riccardi Torch, the Masterpiece variant of Mr. Fantastic, which again, they're the regular ones. But yeah, that was pretty much my haul. I got the 2 cards and that was it. So. And I got some just various prizes along the way. But all in all, I think it was a good mode. I think it was fun. It was probably the best one I think I've seen in a while. I'd like to see them, if they bring it back, add some different champions to it. I hope they keep doing that. Obviously, they can fill, they can put a lot more in. This was Fantastic Four based, which makes sense. All these were fantastic, except for Carnage. I don't really know how that got in there, but of course, Doctor Doom, Herbie, Thing, Human Torch, Mr. Fantastic, and Invisible Woman. So, maybe when they do this again, if they do it again, like as soon as this month, I don't see that happening. I think it'll take a little bit because they're going to have to design all new, if they decided to design new champions, I hope they will. That would just make sense to go along with the theme. But maybe in a couple months from now, they'll design some different champions. If they do it next month, they could do android champions, or if they do it the following month in zombies, they could do some of that. But all in all, it was pretty fun. Most of the time, I was playing this Doom deck. I know a lot of people found that the Herbie list was one of the best ones that are out there. A lot of people changed it up. But Herbie was pretty strong. It was a zoo list, but a lot of people weren't playing it for that. They're playing it with the other Fantastic Four members, like kind of a buff deck type list. I think the worst one, the most easy one to counter was the Carnage one. You just saw it coming. And if you were playing any of the ongoing stuff with the Mr. Fantastic list, you could just stick Cosmo and Armor in the deck, and you'd pretty much shut that deck down. The Mole Man list was a little weird. Was a Victoria Hand list. I didn't see too many people playing it. The Doom one was basically the way that I had it constructed was like a Big Dumb Idiots list. I had Doom in there. I stuck Echo in it to combat the ongoing lists. I did put Armor in it for the Destroy lists. Killmonger was in there. Doom, of course, Ares, Enchantress I stuck in there too. Crossbones, Sasquatch, Magneto, Giganto, and Scar. Didn't see very many at all playing the Thing list, and that's kind of the deserter list of the bunch, but I didn't really see many people at all playing that one. The Human Torch one, I didn't really see anybody playing that, even though it was a buff list. I was shocked in a way that a lot more people weren't playing that one, because everybody loves buff. The Invisible Woman one I saw a few times, but all that really is just a negative or a toxic list. And then the Mr. Fantastic one got played quite a bit. I added some stuff to this. Of course, if you put Super Scroll in it, you're just going to win the game if the other player you're playing doesn't have it. But yeah, all in all, I thought it was a pretty fun mode, and pretty fun part of the game, for last month. So that is gonna again put the wraps on Fantastic Four First Steps. My final thoughts on that season. When I look back at it, let me just go through. I'm not going to go through all the cards, but let me just go through, obviously, some of the cards that we got. Obviously, I still kind of think now Invisible Woman is doing some crazy stuff. She's doing a lot of crazy stuff right now with that list that's out now. Now we'll see. I kind of have a feeling that they're going to do something about that list, because I can't see that they let that continue. It is just way too strong. So I think they're going to either nerf Invisible Woman First Step somehow, or, they already changed Sunspot to a 1-0, and that means nothing in that list. So I doubt they're going to nerf Sunspot, Havoc. What are the other ones? Tina. They're not going to do that. So I have a funny feeling they're going to nerf Invisible Woman, and what they may do is, because basically what people are doing is they're using Prodigy underneath her in the same lane, and then they're copying it with Frigga. So what they might do is they might make her a higher cost card. They might make her like a 5/5, where you won't get her out until the next to last turn, and then you can't do all that copy business with her. They could nerf her in a different way, but I would be shocked at this point, with that deck being so prominent and so easy to play, that doesn't get changed. So, and like I said, it's just a matter of numbers. They can't change those other three cards. So but I think Invisible Woman is going to get nerfed. You could look at it from that standpoint. I don't think she's going to survive that much. I think the Thing was a surprise to some people. I think it ended up being a better card than a lot of people thought it would be. It just kind of clears out some cards in lanes. I saw someone was playing yesterday where it destroyed an Iron Man in a lane, which really won them the game. So I think that card is much better than people thought. Herbie, the same way. I think just a much better card than people thought it was going to be. A lot of people are playing the card. Human Torch, kind of boring, but, it still kind of gets quite big by the end of the game. And then, of course, Mr. Fantastic First Steps. To me, I think when all's said and done, now right now you would look back at the month and probably say Invisible Woman was the best card, and a lot of people thought she might be, but I still think when all is said and done that Mr. Fantastic, the season pass, is going to have been the best card of the month over all the other cards. And then, of course, Fantastic Car, if you did get it, Fantastic Car is pretty good as well, giving the end-of-turn cards that little buff at the end of the game. So all in all, I thought it was a fun month. I like how the cards all synergized, which is kind of cool because, look, we've been asking for that. They would do those modes, right, where if you play all the Avengers or if you play all the X-Men, you get a bonus and stuff like that. It's kind of what this is, and there are decks coming up that I'll talk about that have all four of the members of the Fantastic Four First Steps in there, and they work very good together. So I don't know. I think that's kind of cool. I think that's something that they should explore in the future. And maybe somewhere down the line they'll do another Spider-Man set. Maybe when the Spider-Man movie comes out next year, and they'll maybe they'll have some different Spider-Men work in tandem and stuff like that. We'll see. But I think it's something they should do in the future. But I enjoyed the month. I thought it was a pretty good amount of fun. So. All right, so that wraps up last month, and of course this month, and all that good stuff, and the previews and stuff. So let's go. We're going to move ahead, and we are going to go to the listener call-in. The listener call-in, I've got two of them this week, where I was kind of dry the last couple of weeks. Again, don't forget to send these out to me at any time. Anytime you'd like to send these out to me. I love getting them. Love hearing from you guys. Send them to me in my Discord, Snap Decisions. I'm also over in Glazer's Discord and Snap Judgments. I'm in there as well under Snap Decisions. You can message me in my Discord. I promise I'll look at it. Like an idiot, I wasn't. And then you can also hit me up on Blue Sky via messages there, or in a post, or you can also hit me up on X as well. So send them out. All right, the first one I'm going to get to, like I said, was waiting for quite some time because I did not see it. I just did not see it, and I apologize big time. So this is from Card, Karrde, Painter 118. Question for the podcast: what would you do to rework Kang and keep it in line with comics lore? Yeah, man. I mean, I'd heard that they are looking into Kang. That they're trying to. I think I read that in Dev's notes that is a card that they are probably going to completely rework. Oh man, as far as keeping with the lore, I mean, his lore is kind of messing with time, right? Like he appears. He comes from the future and he appears back in the present day Marvel universe, and he kind of terrorizes the heroes. He also can go back in the far past, or he just kind of can go anywhere, right? Past, present, and future. So what and the way they designed the card, he rewinds time. So the design was kind of cool. It just didn't work in this game because, while you're going to see what your opponent does. So it's giving you information, and it's also allowing you to kind of stop time and bounce it back and reset yourself. So in a way, it was done cool. It just didn't play very well. And I think it's just because maybe in another game, maybe in a game like Magic the Gathering, and maybe that was maybe a little bit about what they were thinking. There is a card that's one of the Power 9 in Magic that was banned called Time Walk, where you would take an extra turn. So maybe something like that. Like maybe you're allowed to play twice in a turn. Overpowered, sure. But I think the gist of it where he messes around with time, there's not a whole lot you could do with that. Or, maybe it's going to be one of those cards where if maybe maybe you can find a card. Maybe you are allowed to go into your deck or your graveyard and find a card. Maybe there was a card that a location got rid of that you wanted, or maybe it's something that you need. Maybe it's the last card in your deck. Maybe you find out during the course of the game somebody has a copycat, and they have the last card of your deck, and you're playing a Cerebro, and damn, I'm not getting this card. Maybe this card allows you to dig and get a card. Again, probably be overpowered too. I'm just kind of rambling through thoughts. It's like, but I think essentially something with time. You guys tell me. This is a great question from Card. Card, thank you so much, and thank you for your patience. And obviously, I apologize for me not seeing it. But you guys tell me, what are your thoughts? And I'll put this out to all of you. What are your thoughts? I'll post it on Twitter and Blue Sky. But what are your thoughts to rework Kang? What are your rework Kang thoughts? I want to hear them all. And you can comment on the pod, do whatever it is. But let me know what your thoughts are on this. How would you rework this card? And try to keep it along the lines of the lore of the actual character. I love it. Thank you for the question. I didn't really answer it very well, but thank you. The next one I've got comes from, this is Chris Hamsworth with an H-A-M. Very cute little symbol too. He has a pig wearing the Thor outfit. I love it. And he spells the Chris with a C-H-R and a hot dog and a little lightning bolt that says S. And the hams with an upside down S and the O in Worth with a donut. And then a sword. Clever. Question for your podcast is, who is your Mount Rushmore? So I have to give him two, of superheroes and villains. Oh, man, dude. We talk about Mount Rushmores all the time in my wrestling pod. It's a term that people kind of use pretty loosely now. It used to be, it was a sports term, I think, first. Who's your Mount Rushmore in the sports world? Like, who would it be if you had to pick sports players? Like, people would say Babe Ruth, or for baseball, football people would say Tom Brady now, right? Baseball people would say Jackie Robinson, or like I said, Babe Ruth, or one of the newer players, maybe if they're from that generation. Basketball, my gosh, you could say Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, LeBron, Larry Bird, and so on. Well, I guess we'll start with the good guys. I mean, right off the bat, on my Mount Rushmore is Spider-Man, for sure. Spider-Man just changed my world as a little boy, drew me to him right away, which is exactly what Stan Lee wanted to do, was get a hero out there that people could relate to, even if you were young. And I was drawn to him right away. And he's always going to be one of my favorite all-time superheroes for sure. And I think he's going to be on a lot of people's Mount Rushmore. Now you're saying superheroes and villains, but he did not designate Marvel or DC, or any other designation. So I'm just gonna pick them all. I'm not gonna just keep to Marvel here, because I could do my own Marvel one, but I could do a DC one as well. So since he didn't specify either one, I'm just gonna pick superheroes. And my second one to go up there with Spider-Man is gonna be. Well, you know what? Should I keep? You know what? Let's just keep it Marvel for the sake of Marvel Snap, because I think basically what I was going to say, I'd put Superman up there too. I'd probably have Batman up there as well. So that's going to fill it with a lot of DC guys. So let's just, for the sake of it being Marvel Snap, we'll just keep it Marvel. If you want me to do another one, Chris, for DC, let me know, and I could do another one at some point too. My second one from Marvel. Oh man, Heroes. Oh boy, oh boy. This is just hard for me to pick because I'm gonna. Let me get back to the heroes because there's just so many. I'm gonna go to the villains because I think my four are just gonna rattle off. Galactus. I mean, yep. Galactus is one of my favorites all time. One of my favorite villains ever, and the fact that I finally got to see him in a film was just outstanding. But he's one of my favorite villains ever. So Galactus. Some people might find this next one odd, but the next one for me is Mysterio. Always, this character just intrigued me from the time that I was watching the old Spider-Man 1966 cartoons when I was a kid. I don't know. I don't know if it was a pot on his head, or the glass over his dome, or the colors of him with the purples and the greens, the eyeballs on his shoulder. I don't know what it is. But he just intrigued me from a little kid on up, and I loved the books as I got older. Some of them were even dark. Mysterio was in some books. He was in a book with Daredevil where he faked his own death, which was one of the most incredible stories I've ever read. He's not even really necessarily a Daredevil villain, but he's been in some really great storylines over the years. And I know he's kind of just a side character, and he was a spoofy character, a special effects artist that was, there wasn't even special effects back then. He was just a stuntman. He was a stuntman in the movies when Spider-Man first saw him. But then he became, evolved into a special effects artist, and Jake Gyllenhaal played him, and I love me some Jake Gyllenhaal in Spider-Man. So, but yeah, Mysterio's on my Mount Rushmore of villains. I have always loved that character. Let's see here. Who else am I going to go with in villains? And I'm just trying. Red Skull. Oh, man. I was never a huge reader of Captain America, but I still knew who Red Skull was. And, just one of the most despicable villains you could ever. He was a Nazi. So, all down through history, you have the Nazi villains that are around. And I just loved a lot of the stuff that Red Skull was in, too. He was in some pretty good storylines over the years. A lot of it, of course, was with S.H.I.E.L.D., with Captain America and stuff like that. But he'd appear in other mediums, too. And he's just, he just looks badass, right? With the way they drew him over the years in comics and stuff like that, I think he's just done amazingly well. And then my fourth one, got to be Doctor Doom, right? Has to be Doctor Doom. Again, you don't have the Fantastic Four without this guy. And Doom has been a thorn in so many heroes' sides over the years. You guys are going to see it when you watch Doomsday. If you haven't read the Doomsday comics, just go back through history and read up on Doctor Doom and all the things he's in. Even today, they have him basically playing the role of a supreme leader / monarch / world ruler, and because of the power he has. He's now the Sorcerer Supreme. He's got magic powers. Yeah, he's just tormented heroes over the ages, and he is just obviously one of the best villains, and has to be almost on anybody's Mount Rushmore. Now, I could give you, like I said, not too many people are going to have Mysterio or Red Skull in their Mount Rushmore. Those are kind of more personal to me. But others that maybe could have made the list pretty easily. Let's see here. I'm going to go down the list of Spider-Man villains. Spider-Man has so many Carnage, Venom. Venom's probably going to make a lot of people's list, especially he's not a villain anymore, but he's oh man, when he first came into McFarlane comic, when McFarlane drew him, incredible stuff, and he was brutal at first. So he's a great one. Fantastic Four, Dormammu would be a really good one for them. They've got some good ones. Annihilus would be another really good one. let's see, Captain America, obviously, like I said, Red Skull, Baron Zemo, another good one for him. Thor. Oh, Thor had Malekith, of course. Loki. How can I forget Loki? Yeah, I mean, I got to put Loki up there. I'm going to take Red Skull off. I'm going to take Red Skull off and put Loki over him. Loki's got to be there, right? You got to have Loki on there. I mean, one of the oldest and best Marvel villains of all time. I loved his TV series. But yeah, you gotta have Loki on that list. Mysterio will stay because he's a weird one just for me. But you gotta have Loki up there. Who else can you include? Oh man, I'm sure I'm missing a bunch. Kingpin could be up there. Again, there are so many good Spider-Man ones that can go up there. But yeah, so I'll leave it there for now. So Loki, Doctor Doom, and I'm already forgetting the other two that I named. But yeah, there's so many. Great question. And then the heroes. I got to get back to heroes. Spider-Man, Doctor Strange for me is going to go up there. Doctor Strange for me is going to go up there because I've been reading Doctor Strange very, very long time. And I love his books. I love the mysticism about the book. To me, he's super powerful. And, he can go toe-to-toe with anyone. If he's fighting off like demons from the netherworld like Dormammu and so on, he can stand up there with anyone as one of the most powerful Marvel heroes. I think that's there. So Doctor Strange is on my Mount Rushmore. Who else is going to go up there for Marvel? I mean, I was never a big Iron Man reader. Never really a big Thor reader. Fantastic Four, I read. You know what I'm going to put up there? I'm going to put up Johnny Storm. I loved Human Torch. He was my favorite character in the comic book. And I just always loved him. Again, I grew up reading him when I was a younger kid. So he resonated with me because he was a hothead. He was, he liked all of the kind of the stuff that I liked right back in the day. He was into cars and so he was one of those characters you could kind of relate to because he was a little bit younger. So I'm gonna put Johnny Storm up there. And lastly, I mean, always loved Hulk and Thing. But I wouldn't necessarily have them. Punisher, I really, really like Punisher. I read a lot of iterations of Punisher over the years. Oh, boy. Oh, man. You know who I've read a lot over the years and I'm still reading today? No, you know what? Man-Thing. Man-Thing's got to go on my map. Just for the sake of the fact that his head carved into stone would look amazing. But no. Look, again, there's another character who I got attached to from a book and record that my grandparents bought me in 1976. And I have loved that character ever since. And it probably led me to my loving of horror and horror films. Because without that and that book and record that I had with the suicidal clown and Man-Thing, I probably wouldn't have been as big of a horror fan as I am. So I have him to kind of thank for that. So yeah, Man-Thing's going to be up there for me as well. So that's my Mount Rushmores. Who are yours? Who do you guys have? Let me know. And again, great question. I'm going to have to do that again sometime for DC. So thank you to Chris Hamsworth from X. I loved it. Great question. But yeah, tell me who yours are, guys. Let me know. Let me know on Twitter or Blue Sky or wherever. Let me know what yours are. Who are your top 4 heroes and villains? You can make them Marvel, make them DC, whatever. Let me know. I'd be interested to see what your responses are to those questions. So there you go. That is the viewer call-in section. Thank you so much, both of you, for getting me those questions. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for doing that. All right. We're going to go and segue into the DJ countdown. And this week's countdown are going to be must-read Galactus comics, must-read Galactus books. So if you want to get in and start reading about Galactus, who we're going to talk about in Comics Corner, these are the books that you are going to have to read if you are a Galactus fan. So, all right. We are going to start from the beginning. Now, you're going to find this Galactus a little weird, but where are you going to start but from the beginning? The original debut of Galactus, Fantastic Four number 48 to number 50 by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Again, when you look at him, you're going to see a very, very different look. He almost looks like he's a Christmas Galactus. He's very red and very green. He's got the purple on the bottom, but the outline of his costume was red. He had the red armor before they made him all purple. He had red gauntlets, and he had skin tone color. So he had, just regular skin tone. He had when he was drawn. And his helmet looked the same, but it wasn't all purple like it is now. It was green on the outside, red on the inside, and with green horns. And then he had a big G on the front of his suit. So very, very odd looking. And the next time you see him the first time you see him is the very end of the comic. And he says, "My journey is ended. This planet shall sustain me until it has been drained of all elemental life. So speaks Galactus." And then there's a little thing down from Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, and it says, "Next issue. Prepare for wonderment without end, marvels without measure, scenes of mind-staggering fantasy, supergalactic grandeur, soul-searching spectacle for the grandest adventure thrill of all. You dare not miss it. So speak Stan and Jack." Enough said. So, got to start at the beginning, guys, and go right to the origin story of Galactus. And again, that's Galactus debuts, Fantastic Four, number 48 to number 50. And I'm sure that you will probably see graphic novels out there with Galactus now, if there aren't already. But that's where I would tell you to start. So 48 through 50. It contains 3 other stories starring Galactus. This is a collection, actually. This collects Fantastic Four, 1961, number 48 to 50, 74 to 77, and 120 to 123, and 242 to 244. So, in addition to the debut of the Big G, this Behold Galactus collection includes 3 other stories from 1966 through the early 80s. So that's a good primer. It says good primer on Fantastic Four Galactus stories, if that's what you're after. This one is this is Thor. 1966, numbers 151 through 174, and these include both Thor versus Ego the Living Planet. You all know who Ego is from the MCU. Versus Galactus Throwdown and the origins of Galactus. The Galactus-centric arcs occur in Thor 160 to 162 and 168 to 169. Then we've got the John Byrne Fantastic Four. This is In Search of Galactus. That's Fantastic Four numbers 204 to 214. So I know I'm not just giving you one books here. These are sets of books. John Byrne on Fantastic Four for plenty of of course, he did most of the 80s stuff. But that's one you're going to want to check out. There are Dazzler books to check out. Dazzler number 10 and number 11. Oddball heralds throughout Galactus' time storing the spaceways, but good old Alison Blair definitely holds a special place on the list. Secret Wars. Obviously, Galactus is all through Secret Wars. So obviously, if you're going to get prepped for the upcoming film, when that comes out, I don't know how much this will play in, because I still think they're going to take most of their ideas for Secret War that's coming up from the 2015 Secret Wars. But this is the original one. This is the one that was intended to sell toys, but Galactus is in it. And he's got a big role in it. And of course, that was done by Jim Shooter and Mike Zeck. Silver Surfer books. So Silver Surfer 1988, number 1 and 2. And this is, of course, starring Silver Surfer. and his journeys with Galactus. And then, of course, you have some books from the 90s as well. Marvels 1 through 4 by Alex Ross. Oh, if you haven't read Marvels, Alex Ross is just amazing. We've got some of his work in Marvel Snap. Amazing artist, and just has stuff that he paints. And of course, the Marvels are done by Kurt Busiek and Alex Ross. Opens with a ground zero view of Galactus' first visit to Earth. And it does. The comic opens up with that. I mean, the artwork on that is just outstanding. It's like the ground level looking up at Galactus. If you were on the ground during that time that he would have been there, and what it would have looked like for you had you been on the ground, just incredible. And it's just amazing work. So if you haven't read Marvels, I definitely suggest to read that. It's 4 issues, and it's basically from a reporter's standpoint. From the Daily Bugle, who goes around taking all these close-up pics and stuff of the heroes as they're living, and it makes the heroes look like they would look like in that era, like if you saw them in real life. So it's just an incredible book. Infinity Gauntlet, and again, here's another one. If you haven't read this, oh my gosh, you must. This is by Jim Starlin, of course, and Ron Lim. Galactus is a recurring player on the cosmic stage in the continuing Infinity Saga, including a team-up with Doctor Strange. So how about that? Guardians of the Galaxy, 24 and number 25. Darkseid versus Galactus, The Hunger, by John Byrne. It's not in continuity, but it was just fun to read. Galactus the Devourer, number 1 through 6 by Louise Simonson, and art by John Muth and John Buscema. Fantastic Four Resurrection of Galactus, that's 1998, numbers 46 to 50, and the Fantastic Four Annual. And then, of course, in the modern age, I know I'm doing more than 4 here, and it's not really kind of a countdown, it's just a big list. Wade and Waringo's Fantastic Four, that's from 1998, 60 to 70, and 500 to 524. Mark Wade did some things with the origin of Galactus, bringing him down to a more human level. And then you had Annihilation, Cataclysm, and Hunger. Of course, yeah, that's the Ultimate books. Galactus Cataclysm took place in that. Ultimate Cataclysm, so that's where they said they got that story of Galactus for Fantastic Four. Rise of the Silver Surfer. And then, of course, it goes into After Secret Wars and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm sorry it wasn't really a countdown, but there was just a lot. And there are just some of the books that you should go and check out if you are interested in learning more about Galactus, which we will talk about him in just a little bit. All right, so there you go. We had a call-in. We had a countdown. Up next, we are going to go to my DJ Week in Review. And that's going to talk about what happened in Marvel Snap this week and what I did in Marvel Snap. So let's go back and take a look. We'll talk about, and of course, we'll talk about decks I played, of course, yesterday with Galactus and things like that, including one that you're not going to believe actually works, but it really does. So, and I wonder if we're going to have my weekly iPad crash. Let's see. I'm opening up the game. It's opening slowly. Someone asked the devs about the Apple crashes, and they had mentioned that they think it's a RAM problem. Like if you don't have a certain amount of RAM on your device, that it can cause issues. But, so last month I finished at 86. Yeah, 86. Didn't get out of the 80s again. So I started back in the 60s. I started at 65. I'm now up to 76 after playing most of the day yesterday. And seeing a ton of bots. You see a bunch of bots in the 60s. I'm not seeing as many now. But let's look at we'll get to the decks in a minute. But let's look at some of the variants and stuff. So over this past week, these are some of the ones I've gotten now. Some of these are going to be from Grand Arena because I opened up that all those, because I have so many tokens, I thought, why not? And I opened up all those Fantastic Four variants that were in that one pack that you could just keep opening, and I did that because one day I was bored. So I got a lot of variants this week, unlike the last few. So I got, first of all, I don't know if I mentioned him, but I got the fantasy variant of Green Goblin. I may have mentioned him already. I got a really cool super rare variant of Angel, which I never played, but it's the Apocalypse Wars variant. It's kind of cool. He's like half and half on the cover. It's like a painting almost. He's got like a light side and a darker side on there, so it's very cool. I got the Silver Sable Dan Hip, which of course I love my Dan Hips. And then of course it starts with the Fantastic Four stuff. I got the super rare Vincenzo Riccardi Invisible Woman. I got the Max Grech Thing, the Max Grech Mr. Fantastic, the Fear Itself variant of Thing. I got the Michael Komarek variant of the Human Torch. I got the Kim Jacinto Human Torch. I got the Venomized variant of the Thing. I got the Art Germ Mr. Fantastic, the Art Germ Invisible Woman. So that was all in that one thing. Then I got the sticker variant of Agony. Sticker variants are kind of fun. They look like they should have that border from the what's that new border that you can only get through? Well, we got them from Twitch drops, but you can only get it from PAX East, the PAX East border. They looks like they're kind of made for these sticker variants. Just yesterday, I got a Hellfire Gala Namor variant who is swimming with the sharks. I got a new Mockingbird Joelle Jones variant. I think that was one of the 700 ones because I pulled that, but it's very cool. Has some stuff going on in the background, like has her training in the background and stuff. And then the other side, I like these. Like they kind of look like comic covers has like a car accident there in the front. So yeah, it's kind of cool. I like it. I got a Valkyrie variant, Rian Gonzalez, which I did not have. Which love Rian's, the colors she uses and stuff like that is very, very, very cool. And has Valkyrie in front of the Rainbow Bridge. I got a Phoenix Force Thor variant, which is one of those ones that came during the Phoenix Force series. I got a Pandart Studio Gambit. Of course, that came off the collection track. That is for the season pass. I got the Black Cat sticker variant as well. And then that is about it for the variants. So there you go. Like I said, I'm at 76 on ladder. And let me open up my free coin or my credits here while I'm here. Conquest, I did manage to get everything but the titles and stuff. This month's is a null. I'll be honest. I have so many nulls. And this one is done by John Lamb. I don't even know if I'm going to go for this one, to be honest. See what else is in here. You get a mystery variant. That's not one I'm going to end up getting gold from that one because I have all the 700s. Silver ticket, 150 credits. Coward's Retreat on turn 6, a new title. Gold ticket, then you get a premium mystery variant. Destroy Deck Destroyer, new title. You get a red neon border. I don't know, man. I have so many nulls, I may not even bother with it. Conquest is really tough, a tough thing to play now. The decks in there are all Destroy, all Mr. Negative, especially when you get into like Infinite Conquest and stuff like that. They're just all the same. And now I'd imagine that if they're low-level collection players and they got Invisible Woman first steps, it's probably going to be all those decks with the Sunspot and stuff like that in there too. So I don't know. I'm going to have to see if I can make time. I don't know if I'm going to bother. I'm really going to try my hardest to get to Infinite this month because I want that the Gold Galactus card back. So we'll see. All right, let's look at some decks here. There was a new album I forgot to go over. I think I told you guys I was going to talk about it last week. I am still missing that damn Ivan fan Annihilus. I'm confined that I'll never get it. To get that Galactus, I'm never going to get that stupid Annihilus. Mafeon's Masterpieces is the new album. That has a lot of 1,200 gold variants and an Invisible Woman variant you can get at the end, But this one I found tough to try to collect because they're just all expensive. They're all super rares. There's an Elixir, Esme Cuckoo. There's a Herbie. There's a Hellion. There's all the First Steps characters are in here. So Herbie, Thing, Mr. Fantastic, and then you get Invisible Woman at the end. So you get them all. Kid Omega, Mercury's in it, Mr. Fantastic, Prodigy, Surge, The Thing, First Steps, and Zorn. I just didn't want to burn the credits on all that. So it's not going to be one I'm going to end up probably collecting. Those ones that are all 1,200 gold variants are tough. But, all right, let's get to some decks. Now, the one that I was talking to you about, that's the big one in the meta right now. Let's talk about that one first. It's Sunspot with the Invisible Woman. And this is just one of the many lists that's out there. But I think this one came from KM Best's top 10 decks list. It's Sunspot, Squirrel Girl, Hydra Bob, Black Cat, Havoc, Thena, Mr. Fantastic, Marvel Boy, Kyera, Prodigy, Invisible Woman, and Fantastic Car. Now, this one doesn't have Frigga. Some people are playing with Frigga to copy, but this one you're going to be able to. You're gonna make two. You can make 2 copies of Invisible Woman with the Prodigy, and look, it might just be enough because that's going to just do a whole lot of Havocs at the end, a whole lot of Sunspot stuff, a whole lot of Thena stuff at the end. Kyera is in there really to protect your ones because a lot of people are playing that hide to Killmonger, especially where KM Best is on the ladder. Marvel Boy is another one that's just gonna hit all your cards at the end of the game, especially all those 1-drops, which are gonna have a high 1-drop in Hydra Bob and Black Cat. And then, of course, you're going to stick Prodigy underneath the Invisible Woman. Fantastic Car is going to hit them all at the end of the game. That's going to be another one that's going to activate more than once. So that is, now again, that's not the crazy one that you play with the, I think I have this one too. Let's see. Whoops. There's the iPad crash, folks. There it is. There's the weekly iPad crash. Can't get through one without it. The iPad has crashed. We're starting over. Oh, man. I like the title screen, of course, because it's Galactus. And he's got all the people, surfers in there. Frankie Ray's in there. It's pretty cool. Back to the decks we go. All right. I have another version of this. This is Binks's version. Now, this one does have Frigga. So this one has Sunspot, Nico, obviously to copy any of the other stuff, Quinjet, Havoc, Thena, Bruce Banner. And he really likes Bruce in this. I could see it because, even if you have to Frigga multiple copies of Bruce or make multiple copies of him instead, he's going to go off before the end of the game. So it is a good card to have in here. Mr. Fantastic, you also have Victoria Hand in here as an alternate play line. So if you don't get the Invisible Woman stuff going on, you have Victoria Hand. You have Frigga, which again, you're going to want to copy Invisible Woman. Make a copy of that to play out. You're going to want to play Prodigy. You'll end up having like 3-4 copies of Invisible Woman by the end of the game, especially if Mr. Fantastic reduces it. And then you can Moon Girl as well at the end to give yourself even more copies. So this is this is just like a ridiculous one because you're just going to have power beyond belief. The Sunspot's going to get up absolutely huge. If you copy the Sunspot somehow, Havoc, Thena, Bruce, they're all just going to be humongous. And this is the most popular deck that's out there right now. And the one that I read with KM Best was his number 1 deck on his list. So if you're not playing that, you probably should, because they are the list to beat right now. And I would play it if you're going to play it now, because once they get to their adjustments, which is coming up on, I think it's the 19th, so you got a little bit of time, but once they get to their adjustments, I can guarantee you that Invisible Woman is going to get hit, because I kind of doubt that they want this to be the case. So Supergiant has made it onto his KM Best list. This is and again, this one kind of shuts down those decks because you're skipping that turn at the during the course of the thing. So, and it plays with Mercury Cannonball, so that's in here. Mr. Fantastic First Step, Shadow King, Daredevil, Fenris Wolf, Maximus, Killmonger. So you're playing Hide the Killmonger in a way too. Negasonic, Gladiator, Supergiant, Ronin is in here to combine with the Maximus and stuff like that. And, of course, Cannonball for the Cannonball Mercury combo. So a lot of people are teching out Supergiant right now in their decks. Now, these are the decks that I played yesterday. This was Dexter's list with Agatha. And this, of course, is the one with Redshift. So this is Black Knight, Quinjet, Mr. Fantastic First Steps, Redshift, Mole Man, Copycat, Lady Sif, Gladiator, Ghost Rider, Emperor Hulkling, Galactus is in here as well, the First Steps, and Agatha. So he had a lot of big cards in his list. Binks's list was a little bit different. Let me see. I think I took a screenshot of it, but let me see if I have it. I think I do. Maybe not. Let's see. I might not, but other people have made others of this. Here's another one that I got. I forget who I got this from. This is Black Knight, Redshift, Gambit, Juggernaut, Lady Sif, Luna Snow, Gladiator, Shang-Chi, Ghost Rider, Enchantress, Legion, and Agatha. So a little more tech in that one. This one was done by Binks. Now, this is just with the Galactus First Step. So this was Guardians. A lot of people said it would be smart to play Guardians with it because you're always going to be winning the lanes that the Herald is in. So it's Hydra Bob, Black Cat, Star-Lord, Iron Patriot, Rocket and Groot, regular Groot, Copycat, Drax, Stardust, Gamora, Sandman, and Galactus. So you have some tech in here with Stardust and Rocket and Groot, obviously. Sandman, of course, as well. To not allow your opponent to play. This one is Alex Coach's Galactus list, and this is High Evo. So Sunspot, Misty Knight, Hydra Bob, Mr. Fantastic First Steps, Thaddeus Ross, Magic, Cyclops, Invisible Woman, Fantastic Car, High Evolutionary, Galactus First Steps, and Hulk. So just kind of taking the place of another big body in there. All right. But the one you're all going to be wanting to know is how I managed to have so much fun with Galactus yesterday and not the one from First Steps. Although he's in this, he is playing more of a decoy than anything else in this list. This is... I can't remember. This is Binks. It could be Binks's list, or this might have been somebody else I just saw playing. But whichever. But this is a combo Galactus. This is two Galactuses. You're playing the Mercury Cannonball stuff. Okay, you got Daredevil in here. You got Kate Bishop, Hawkeye. You've got Jeff, Jennifer Kale to get Galactus out early. You got a Green Goblin in here. You've got Luna Snow in here. Professor X is in here. Cannonball, Galactus, Eliath, and the First Steps Galactus. I won so many games last night on ladder because of the regular Galactus, simply because people were playing because they saw me leveling up the big Galactus. So they're playing in preparation for the big Galactus. What they're also doing, and you're going to see, is and I was beating the best deck in the game. I was beating those Sunspot games or Sunspot decks like you wouldn't believe with these decks, with this deck, because they were just, they're playing out the Invisible One, they're playing out their Sunspot, they're playing out all this stuff, and they never got to the end of the game. I would have the Goblin. They would ignore a lot of times the Goblin lane, because they can't play on that because they got to set up the whole thing with Prodigy and all that kind of stuff. By the time they got that all going, because that takes a while. especially for copying cards and all that kind of stuff. Most of the time, they're going to leave 1 or 2 lanes until the end, because then that's when they'll pop in the Thena or the Havoc. But I'd hit them with the Goblin. They many times just either leave that alone, or a lot of times I'll get the Kate Bishop Acid Arrow. So I'll have the Acid Arrow and the Goblin in there, and again, they just leave it alone. And then on turn 5, here comes Galactus. Boom goes all of their stuff. So all the Invisible Womans, all the Sunspots, all the stuff they played early on, gone, and they just retreat. They're done. They just can't win. I'll snap before it because I've already seen that there's no way they're going to play that lane. And a lot of times you'll get caught with trying the Galactus, where they'll play something big on there, but 9 times out of 10 they're not going to play it. And even if they play, let's say they play the Fantastic Car on turn 5, it's still only a 7. And if you've got that 3 in there, and if you got the -2 in there, that's 2 in the lane. And if you got the -4 Goblin in there, it's still only a 3. You can still play Galactus on that lane. And then you finish them off with, if they do manage to play something and you don't have priority, if they do manage to play something in there and you Galactus anyway, and there's something that's a little bit on the bigger side, you can still cannonball it at the end. So it's just, I was having a ton of fun with this deck, and it took so many people off guard because they just were not expecting it. I don't think the Professor X is necessary. There were very few times where I found that I was playing him. And there's just so many ways people have around him that I don't think it's necessary. You could probably replace that with a Hobgoblin in the deck, just to be on the safe side of you getting it. Jeff, you can move out. Mercury, you can move around. And stuff like that, but yeah, it's this was just a hell of a lot of fun, and Luna and the combination with Jennifer Kale is just very easy to get the Galactus out, and I had a blast playing the OG Galactus yesterday and actually winning a lot of games. So I was also playing some Doom and the Fantastic Four. I was playing the Doom 2099 deck. If you're going to play this, you better get it out of the way now before that tech card gets to be prominent in so many people's decks. But and again, this one has elements of both. So you have Sunspot in here, along with the Invisible Woman for steps. So you have that combo going for you. You have Hydra Bob, you have Adam Warlock, you have Mr. Fantastic, Human Torch for steps. You have Doom 2099, you have Fantastic Car, Blue Marvel, Thing. You have Doctor Doom, and you have Red Hulk in there too. And now, if you want, you could probably switch out Red Hulk, and you could stick in the new Galactus if you just want them all in there. It's literally everything. It's all the Fantastic Four cards, First Steps cards. And if you want to add the Galactus to the deck, you can just stick him in there too, and it'd probably work out fine. All right. Well, there are all of the looks at the cards. That was my weekend snap, basically. And where I am now and all that kind of stuff. I don't go over the bundles and stuff anymore, but if you want, let's see. We've got... Let's see what we got here. Law of Attraction, which is a Polaris one, 1,200 gold. Purple Neon Border, 1,000 credits. Not bad for that, I guess, if you really wanted to delve into it. The one with the Jeff and Galactus, I knew this was coming. But it's Galacta and Jeff. It's the Lee Chiola variant and the What If variant of Jeff. Jeff's got Galactus on it, and Jeff is his Silver Surfer Herald in it. I mean, it's the cutest thing ever. And you get the things. You get 2 of the purple cosmic borders. You get a lot of credits, 12,000, 3,000 collector's tokens, but it's $100. And yeah, I'm not going to be doing that. You get there's a Terrax one. This one is a waste of money. Total waste of money. $75 for Terrax, which you can get in the Series 4 packs. 10,000 credits. Like, that's it. It's waste of money. And then the only other thing I had was a mystery pack. And then the variants that were in the house yesterday, or in the shop yesterday, Creative House Pocket variant of Hawkeye of Kate Bishop. Cool looking one, but I have a lot of her. And again, they're all 1,200. Mark Silvestri, Esme Cuckoo, Pandar Studio variant of Fina, Vincenzo Riccardi Brood, Pandar Studio variant of Red Guardian, which is very cool looking, much like the movie one. Venomized Hydra Bob, Super Scroll, 30.99, and the Vincenzo variant of Sebastian Shaw. So that's what I had in there. Some people were getting the the Silver Surfer variant yesterday. I don't know how they were doing that, but some people were getting her. I saw that around. I don't know how they managed to get that like ahead of time, but a lot of people were, so that's kind of cool. Grand Arena, by the way, ends in 2 days. If you want to continue to play it, you've got 2 days left to go. All right, we are going to move it on over to the Comics Corner. So I'm going to do Comics Corner with Galactus. I'm going to do, of course, the pull list for the week for comics that I've gotten. And then we're going to go to MCU Minute. And lastly, I'm going to close out with my brand new Guess the Lyric contest. My brand new Guess the Lyric is going to be at the very end of the show. All right, so let's go to Comics Corner, shall we? And we are going to look up the G-Man. This is awesome that I get to do this too. It's so cool. That I get to talk about him. And see, I wouldn't have been able to do that had they not remade the card. So, to you people who don't like the cards getting remade. All right. Galactus. Galactus is a fictional character appearing in American comic books by Marvel Comics. First appearance, Fantastic Four number 48, March 1996. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. His alter ego is Galen. I don't know if you know that. His species is Ta'an, T-A-A-A-N. His place of origin. Galen was originated on Ta'a. That's the name of the planet, I guess, that his species is Ta'an. So his place of origin is Ta'a. And Galactus was from the Cosmic Egg. Team affiliations, Heralds of Galactus, the God Squad, and the Ultimates. Partnerships, Ta'aya, his biological mother, and the Heralds of Galactus. Notable aliases, Ashta, the Devourer of Worlds, the Lifebringer, the Seeder of Worlds. His abilities, Mastery of the Power Cosmic. Galactus, formerly a mortal man, he is a cosmic entity who consumes planets to sustain his life force and serves a functional role in the upkeep of the primary Marvel continuity. It was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and first appeared in Fantastic Four number 48. Lee and Kirby wanted to introduce a character that broke from the archetype of the standard villain. In the character's first appearance, Galactus was depicted as a godlike figure that fed by draining living planets of their energy. That's the one I was telling you about earlier with the green and red suit, Christmas Galactus, and operated without regard to the morality or judgments of mortal beings. Galactus' initial origin was that of a Ta'an space explorer named Galen, who gained cosmic abilities by passing near a star. But writer Mark Grunewald further developed the character's origins, presenting Ta'a and Galen as existing in the universe prior to the Big Bang that began the setting of the current universe. As Galen's universe came to an end, he merged with the sentience of the universe to become Galactus, an entity who must consume planets to sustain his existence. Additional material written by John Byrne, Jim Starlin, and Louise Simonson explored Galactus' role and purpose in the Marvel Universe and examined the character's actions through themes of genocide, manifest destiny, ethics, and natural/necessary existence. Frequently accompanied by a herald, such as the Silver Surfer, the character has appeared as both antagonist and protagonist in central and supporting roles. Since debuting in the Silver Age of comics, Galactus has played a role in over 5 decades of Marvel continuity. In 2009, Galactus ranked 5th on IGN's list of top 100 comic book villains, which cited the character's larger-than-life presence as making him one of the more important villains ever created. IGN also noted Galactus is one of the few villains on our list to really defy the definition of an evildoer, as the character is compelled to destroy worlds because of his hunger rather than out of malicious ends. The character has been featured in other Marvel media such as arcade games, video games, animated TV series, and the 2000 film Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. He appears in the Marvel Cinematic Universe film The Fantastic Four: First Steps, portrayed by Ralph Ineson. So again, created in Fantastic Four 48, cover dated March 1966, the first of a 3-issue story, later known as the Galactus Trilogy. 5 years after launching Marvel Comics' flagship superhero title, Fantastic Four, creators Stan Lee and Jack Kirby collaborated on an antagonist designed to break the supervillain mold of the tyrant with godlike stature and power, as Lee recalled in 1993. That's a quote from Stan Lee. Galactus was simply another in a long line of supervillains whom we loved creating. We felt the only way to top ourselves was to come up with an evildoer who had almost godlike powers. Therefore, the natural choice was sort of a demigod. But now what would we do with him? We didn't want to use the tired old cliche about him wanting to conquer the world. There were enough would-be conquerors in the Marvel Universe and in all the other comic book galaxies. That was when inspiration struck. Why not have him not be a really evil person? After all, a demigod should be beyond mere good and evil. He'd just be, don't laugh, hungry. And the nourishment he'd require is the life force and energy from living planets. Kirby described his biblical inspirations for Galactus and an accompanying character, an angelic herald Lee called the Silver Surfer. My inspirations, and this, of course, is a quote from Jack, were the fact that I had to make sales and come up with characters that were no longer stereotypes. In other words, I couldn't depend on gangsters. I had to get something new. For some reason, I went to the Bible and I came up with Galactus. And there I was in front of this tremendous figure who I knew very well because I've always felt him. I certainly couldn't treat him in the same way I could any ordinary mortal. And I remember in my first story, I had to back away from him to resolve that story. The Silver Surfer is, of course, the fallen angel. When Galactus relegated him to Earth, he stayed on Earth, and that was the beginning of his adventures. They were figures that had never been used before in comics. They are above mythic figures, and of course, they were the first gods. That's pretty cool, right? Gets his inspiration from the Bible and religion and stuff like that for that. I love reading about stuff like this. It's really cool. Kirby elaborated, Galactus is in actuality a sort of god. He is beyond reproach, beyond anyone's opinion. In a way, he's kind of a Zeus who fathered Hercules. He and his own legend, and of course, he and the Silver Surfer are sort of modern legends, and they are designed that way. Writer Mike Conroy expanded on Lee and Kirby's explanations. In 5 short years from the launch of Fantastic Four, the Lee-Kirby duo had introduced a whole host of alien races or their representatives. There were the Skrulls, the Watcher, and the Stranger, all of whom Lee and Kirby used in Foundations of the Universe they were constructing, one where all things were possible, but only if they did not flout the natural laws of this cosmology. In the nascent Marvel Universe, characters acted consistently. Whatever comic they were appearing in, their actions reverberated through every title. It was pure soap opera, but on a cosmic scale, and Galactus epitomized its epic sweep. This led to the introduction of Galactus in Fantastic Four number 48 through 50, which fans began calling the Galactus trilogy. Kirby did not intend Galactus to reappear. To preserve the character's awe-inspiring presence, fan popularity, however, prompted Lee to ask Kirby for Galactus' reappearance, and the character became a mainstay of the Marvel Universe. So he wasn't even supposed to make a comeback. It was just supposed to be a one-off. So there you go, because the fans asked for it. The 1960s, to preserve the character's mystique, his next 2 appearances were non-speaking cameos in Thor, number 134, and in Daredevil, number 37, respectively. Numerous requests from fans prompted the character to be featured heavily in Fantastic Four, 74 through 77, in May through August 1968. After a flashback appearance in Silver Surfer number 1, the character returned to Earth in Thor 160-162. Galactus' origin was eventually revealed in Thor 168-169, which came out in 1969, the year I was born. Crazy. 70s and 80s. Characters made appearances in Fantastic Four 120 to 123 in 1972 and Thor 225 to 228 in July through October 1974. These 2 storylines introduced 2 new heralds for Galactus. Galactus also featured in Fantastic Four number 172 to 175 in 78 and in 208 to 213 in 1979. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby reunited for the origin of the Silver Surfer and Galactus in the one-shot graphic novel The Silver Surfer, The Ultimate Cosmic Experience in 1978. This Marvel Fireside book, oh that's right. He was in a Fireside book. I forgot they made that. Came out in, because all these Fireside books, including the ones I have that I told you last week about the Secret Origins of Superheroes one that I had, which were kind of like the first graphic novels. So there was the Surfer one I forgot. I didn't have it, but a friend of mine, I think, did when I was a kid. That came out in July, October 1976. Published by Simon & Schuster, was an out-of-continuity retelling of the origin story without the Fantastic Four. The full Lee and Kirby origin was reprinted in the one-shot Supervillain Classics #1 Galactus as The Origin in May 1983. Inked by Vince Coletta and George Klein, lettered by John Morelli, and colored by Andy Yanchis. While nearly identical to the previous origin, this story featured supplemental material, edits, and deletions by writer Mark Grunwald, pencilers John Byrne and Ron Wilson, and inker Jack Abel. Rather than traveling to a dying star, the character enters the core of the collapsing universe before the Big Bang. The story is later reprinted as The Origin of Galactus #1 in 1996. The character guest starred in ROM 26 to 27. We need a ROM card in Marvel Snap in a big way. Galactus featured in 2 related stories in Fantastic Four, in which writer John Byrne introduced the conceit of Galactus feeling remorse for his actions and the weight of his genocides. In the issue, Death assures Galactus of his role and purpose as one of shepherd and weeder in guiding the universe to his proper purpose, and Galactus remains resolute. Byrne further elaborated on this concept in Fantastic Four 262 in 1984, which sparked controversy. At the end of the story, Eternity, an abstract entity in the Marvel Universe, who we also need a card for, appears to validate the existence of Galactus as necessary for the natural order and essential to prevent an even more catastrophic fate. Howard University professor of literature Mark Singer criticized this, accusing the writer-artist of using the character to justify planetary-scale genocide. Byrne and Stan Lee also collaborated on a one-shot Silver Surfer story in which Galactus returned to Zenn-La after the Surfers' rebellion and drained it of energy after allowing the populace to flee. Writer-penciler John Byrne and inker Terry Austin produced The Last Galactus Story as a serial in the anthology comic magazine Epic Illustrated 26-34 in October 84 to February 1986. 9 of a scheduled 10 installments appeared, each with 6 pages, with the exception of the 8th installment was 12. The magazine was canceled with issue 34, leaving the last chapter unpublished and the story unfinished. However, Byrne later published a conclusion on his website. Galactus played a pivotal role in the limited series Secret Wars 1 through 12 and became a recurring character in Silver Surfer beginning with issue 1 in 1987. Stan Lee and Buscema also produced a 64-page hardcover graphic novel, Silver Surfer Judgment Day, in which Galactus clashes with the demonic entity Mephisto. In the 90s, he was featured in the miniseries The Infinity Gauntlet, which included Infinity War and Cosmic Powers. The character starred in the 6-issue miniseries Galactus the Devourer, written by Louise Simonson and illustrated by John Buscema, which climaxed with Galactus' death. Simonson originally conceived that story arc would occur in Silver Surfer Volume 3, but the title was canceled due to dwindling sales. She produced a separate limited series, and at a time was initially doubtful that Marvel would approve what she considered a radical idea concerning why the very existence of the universe depends on the health and well-being of Galactus. 2000s. Consequences of Galactus' death explored in issues Fantastic Four Annual 2001 and Fantastic Four Volume 3, written by Jeff Loeb, and culminate in Galactus' revival, bringing resolutions to Simonson's cliffhanger from the Devourer story arc. Character features in the first 6 issues of the limited series Thanos, written by Jim Starlin, was also in the Fallen, introduced the Fallen One, who is retroactively presented as Galactus' first herald. He's re-examined in Fantastic Four 520 to 523 in October 2004 to 2005, in which his character is reverted to his mortal form. After appearing in the series Stormbreaker, Galactus was a central character in the Annihilation storyline, appearing in the series Annihilation Silver Surfer 1 through 4, Annihilation 1 through 6, and the epilogue Annihilation Heralds of Galactus 1 and 2. Was antagonist in Fantastic Four, where he tried to devour a fellow cosmic function Epic. The character had no dialogue in Nova number 4, Volume 4, 13 through 15. Andy Lanning said that he and co-writer Dan Abnett were treating Galactus like a force of nature, an inevitable planetary catastrophe that there is no reasoning with, no bargaining with, and no escaping. Galactus also appeared in Beta Ray Bill, God Hunter, 2010s, Galactus and the Silver Surfer appeared as antagonists in Scar, Son of Hulk. This is just going through a lot of appearances here. Played a supporting role in the storyline Forever, featured in Fantastic Four. Central role as antagonist in Hunger, number 1 through 4 in 2013. Then he was in The Ultimates. 2020s, Galactus was killed by Thor during the Herald of Thunder story arc in Thor 1 through 6 March through August 2020. Reappeared after a 2-year hiatus in Fantastic Four number 45. The final issue of the event Reckoning War, in which he's resurrected by his former heralds. Reality goes through cycles of creation and destruction. Galactus was originally the Ta'an explorer Galen of the planet Ta in the previous iteration of the multiverse. The 6th cosmos, which existed before the Big Bang of the current multiverse. The 7th cosmos. When an unknown cosmic cataclysm gradually kills all the other life in the universe, Galen and other survivors leave Ta'a on a spacecraft and are engulfed in the Big Crunch. Galen, however, does not die. After bonding with the sentience of the universe, he changes and gestates for billions of years in an egg made of debris of his ship that current universe formed after the Big Bang. He emerges as Galactus, and although a watcher named Essie observed Galactus' birth and recognizes his destructive nature, the watcher does not kill Galactus. Starving for sustenance, Galactus consumes the nearby planet of Archaeopia, the first of many planets he would destroy to maintain his existence. Subsequently, in memory of his dead homeworld of Ta'a and the first planet, Archaeopia, to fall prey to his hunger, Galactus constructs a new homeworld, the Mobius Strip-shaped space station called Ta'a-2. He becomes involved in a civil war among the Promeal gods, who had come into being during the universe's infancy, when a faction of the gods led by Diablari of Chaos attempts to remake the universe in their own image. Galactus kills Diablari and imprisons 3 others, Antiphon, Tenebros, and Aegis, in the prison called the Kiln. Galactus then creates the Tyrant out of desire for companionship, the being Tyrant out of desire for companionship, but the 2 ultimately engage in major conflict. Desires to empower his first herald, the Fallen One, who ultimately rebels against his master. When approaching the planet Zenla, Galactus accepts the offer of Norrin Rad to become his herald, the Silver Surfer, in exchange for sparing his world. Eventually locating Earth, Galactus is driven off by the Fantastic Four, Uatu the Watcher, and the rebellious Silver Surfer, after the Human Torch, with the Watcher's assistance, retrieves the ultimate nullifier from Ta'a-2. Although Galactus leaves Earth, vowing he will never try to consume it again, he banishes the Surfer to Earth for betraying him. Galactus later returns for his former herald, but the Surfer is unrepentant and chooses to remain on Earth. Thor learns of Galactus' origin when the entity comes into conflict with Ego, the living planet. He returns to Earth, unsuccessfully tries to re-enlist the Silver Surfer. After the Fantastic Four and the Surfer defeat Galactus' new herald, the Airwalker, Mr. Fantastic reprograms Galactus' ship to travel to the Negative Zone, which contains many uninhabited worlds that could potentially be consumed. Thor and the Olympian Hercules encounter Galactus when his next herald, Firelord, travels to Earth to be free of his master. Galactus frees Firelord when Thor presents Galactus with the magical Asgardian suit of armor named Destroyer to animate and use as a herald. Oh wow, he gave him the Destroyer. I didn't read that one. Galactus comes into conflict with the High Evolutionary when attempting to devour Counter-Earth, but he is temporarily transformed into harmless energy after attempting to devour the planet Pop-Up, the homeworld of Impossible Man. After returning to normal form, Galactus is sought by Fantastic Four to help stop the new cosmic threat, the Sphinx. Mr. Fantastic offers to release Galactus from his vow to not devour Earth if he helps defeat the Sphinx. Galactus agrees. Fantastic Four first recruit a being called Tyros as a new herald. The quartet succeed, and the newly empowered and renamed Terrax leads his master to Earth. Galactus locates and defeats the Sphinx in Egypt, but is confronted by Mr. Fantastic, who, unbeknownst to Galactus, wields a fake ultimate nullifier. Unable to read Richard's mind, which is protected by the Watcher, Galactus retreats. Galactus empowers and uses the superheroine Dazzler to locate a missing Terrax, who is in fact hiding from his master inside a black hole. The Dazzler defeats and retrieves Terrax and forces Galactus to return her to Earth. Galactus is fooled by the Galadorian Space Knight Rom into trying to devour the Black Nebula, the homeworld of the dire Wraiths, but he is repelled by the Wraith's dark sun. A weakened Galactus pursues the rebellious Terrax to Earth and strips him of his power. Near death, Galactus is saved by the Fantastic Four and the Avengers while also acquiring another Herald, Nova. Nova 2, actually, who offers herself as Galactus' herald in exchange for him sparing Earth again. Galactus devours the Skrull's throne world of Tarnax 4 and discusses his role in the universe with fellow cosmic entity Death. Mr. Fantastic is captured by the Shi'ar for saving Galactus' life and is tried by all of the aliens who survived the annihilation of their homeworlds by Galactus. During the trial, the cosmic entity Eternity, the sentient embodiment of space and reality, intervenes, allowing all beings present to momentarily become one with the universe, allowing them to understand that Galactus is a necessary part of the cosmic order. During the Secret Wars, he attempts to consume Battleworld to force the Beyonder to remove the hunger, but his plan is foiled by Doctor Doom. Galactus grants clemency to Silver Surfer, who aids his former master against the Elders of the Universe and the In-Betweener. Galactus also rescues the Surfer and Nova 2 from Mephisto's realm, who aids the cosmic hierarchy in a war against the mad, eternal Thanos, who wields the Infinity Gauntlet. When Nova 2 is conscience-stricken at the causing of death of billions of aliens, Galactus takes on a new herald, the bloodthirsty Morg the Executioner. Tyrant eventually returns, and Morg sacrifices himself to stop the former creation of Galactus by using the Ultimate Nullifier. Galactus then decides, with help from his new Herald Rift Redshift, to only devour the energy of living beings, which brings him into conflict with alien races and Earth superheroes. During a final confrontation near Chandalar, the throne world of the Shi'ar, the Silver Surfer turns Galactus' siphoning machines against him. A starving Galactus dies and assumes the form of a star. The death of Galactus allows the entity Abraxas. The entity wreaks havoc across thousands of alternate universes, killing various incarnations of Galactus before the children of Mr. Fantastic, Franklin Richards, and Valeria exhaust their powers to restore the original Galactus. Galactus then provides Mr. Fantastic with the Ultimate Nullifier, which he uses to reset reality and prevent Abraxas' initial escape and destruction. Conscience-stricken Galactus tries to rid himself of the cosmic hunger by feeding on the power from Infinity Gems, but he is tricked into releasing the hunger, a being which feeds on entire galaxies. The hunger is destroyed when Thanos orchestrates a final battle with Galactus. When an alien race develops the technology to make planets invisible to Galactus, he empowers the Human Torch, who has traded powers with his sister, the Invisible Woman, and becomes the Invisible Boy as a result of this, and utilizes the hero as an unwilling herald to locate the planets. The Fantastic Four and Quasar free the Torch by changing Galactus back into the humanoid Galen, who chooses to exile himself to an energy-rich alternate dimension before he can transform back into Galactus so that he can feed on that reality without endangering planets. Galactus consumes Beta Ray Bill's homeworld with the help of his new herald Stardust, and Annihilus declares war on the universe. The entity attacks and destroys the Kiln, freeing former Galactus foes, Tenebraus and Aegis. Sensing their release, Galactus temporarily released Stardust from his service and re-employs the Silver Surfer as his herald due to his familiarity with the old foes. Tenebraus and Aegis, however, find and defeat the Surfer and Galactus and deliver them to Annihilus. Annihilus intends to use Galactus as a weapon to destroy all life in the universe, but is thwarted when the entity is freed by Drax the Destroyer. Galactus retaliates and destroys most of Annihilus' forces, seeking a final confrontation with Tenebraus and the Aegis. Galactus sends the Surfer to locate them. The Surfer eventually draws the pair into the barrier between the universe and the negative zone, which destroys both of them. This goes on and on and on. You go through all of the other heralds. I wanted to read some of it because you get to know what some of those heralds are. He had an encounter with Squirrel Girl. I mean, there's just a lot. Dormammu. And then, of course, his powers and abilities. You all know what he does. He eats planets. So that's what his power level is, and his powers and abilities are. And, of course, he uses the power cosmic as well. Heralds are Tyrant, Fallen One, the Airwalker, Firelord Terrax, Nova 2, Morg, Redshift, Stardust, Praetor, the Destroyer, Rom the Space Knight. They were heralds for only one storyline, though. Dazzler, May Parker, Human Torch, the Ultimates, Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, Kazar, Thor, and Kamala Khan were all his heralds for just one-shots. So, where you can see him: The Adventures of X-Men, Amalgam Comics, Bullet Points, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Earth X, Exiles, Galacta, Daughter of Galactus, Galactus Dawn of the Heralds, Guardians of the Galaxy, Heroes Reborn, King Thor, Mangaverse, Marvel Adventures, Fantastic Four, Marvel Zombies, MC2, Ultimate Marvel, and What If the Watcher Had Never Intervened. In television, he's been on the 1967 Fantastic Four cartoon, voiced by Ted Cassidy. He sports green skin and blue armor. I remember watching that one. Appears as Fantastic Four in 1994, voiced by Tony Jay. In Silver Surfer, the animated series, 1998, voiced by James Blendick. Appears in the Superhero Squad show, voiced by George Takei. Galactus makes non-speaking appearances in the Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Version feeds on the antimatter in addition to planet energy. He's defeated by the Avengers and sent to the negative zone. He was also in Ultimate Spider-Man, non-speaking cameo. Appears in Hulk and the Agents of Smash. He also appears in Avengers Assemble. In films, of course, he was in Rise of the Silver Surfer, if you want to call it that. He was a cloud, also showed his helmet. Version is depicted as surrounded by cosmic cloud, as production company 20th Century Fox wished for the character to remain discreet. Not sure why that is. Visual effects studio Weta Digital convinced Fox to add hints of the character's comic book appearance, including a shadow and fiery mass inside the cloud resembling Galactus' helmet. Director Tim Story said he obscured Galactus behind the cloud so a future Silver Surfer spin-off film would be unique, as the character had yet to appear in a comic book film, which you all know because I told you never took place. Film writer J. Michael Straczynski stated, "You don't want to sort of blow out something that big and massive for one quick shot in the first movie." Galactus appears in Lego Marvel's Avengers and Fantastic Four First Steps. Video games, he was in Silver Surfer game, Fantastic Four Flame On, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Little Big Planet, Spider-Man Web of Shadows, Marvel Superhero Squad, Superhero Squad Infinity Gauntlet, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Pinball FX2, Lego Marvel Superheroes, Marvel Puzzle Quest, Fortnite Battle Royale. So there you go. That is all you ever wanted to know and probably will ever need to know about the G-Man. So we're heading to Marvel Unlimited. And this has already been over 2 hours. It's a long one, I know. It usually is the beginning of the month because I go over my new cards and stuff. So let's look up the G-Man, shall we? And I can tell you what they say about him in here. And, of course, what you will find if you look him up. Most recently are all the What If books. So, What If Galactus transformed Rogue, transformed Gambit, transformed Hulk? He did a whole series of those earlier this year, which were pretty fun to read. Galactus. When the humanoid Galen survives the universe's big crunch and emerges as Galactus, he becomes the near-omnipotent devourer of worlds, whose mission is to consume planets and energy sources. Appointing heralds to find worlds for him, he includes them with the power, or imbues them with the power cosmic, and most notably, the Silver Surfer. It comes up with Secret Wars, Silver Surfer Legacy, Clobberin' Time, Reckoning, Trial of the Watcher, Fantastic Four Life Story from 2021, Fantastic Four Antithesis, bunch of Thor books from 2020 to 2023. He's on the cover of Old Man Quill. Also on the cover of The Prodigal Son, Silver Surfer, #1. He's in some Doctor Strange books. On the cover of Doctor Strange, issue number 13 from the 2018-2019 series. Infinity Countdown, he's on the cover of that. Thanos, 2016 through 2018. So on the cover of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, issue number 26. The Ultimates, #2. He's on the cover of #2 and #1. Ultimates, #12. He's on the cover of that. That's the Lifebringer Galactus. That's the one who's in the yellow costume. Marvel Snap card of that variant. Squirrel Girl, the unbeatable Squirrel Girl. He's on the cover of that one. Hunger. which he is on the cover of in all of those issues. In fact, that's one of the variants we have is from the cover of Hunger #1. Fear Itself. More Thor books. He's on the cover of those. Deadpool Team Up. And then a whole bunch of Fantastic Four, as you would expect. There's a cover of the Hulk. Marvel TV Galactus, The Real Story. Now that's an interesting one. To download that one. Ooh, Man-Thing's in it too. Gotta read that. That's a one-shot comic. And we got Silver Surfer, Annihilation Galactus. There is just a bunch, as you would expect. Marvel Zombies, the Infinity Gauntlet stuff. There's a Thanos miniseries he was in. And then as you go down, you would literally be here reading for a long, long time if you wanted to read all of these Galactus stories. And now we're finally getting back to the old stuff. The stuff from the 90s. Stuff from the 80s. We're not even down the bottom of the list. And then you're going back to, you're in all the books in the 80s. And then you finally go to the 60s. Fantastic Four, number 72 with the Silver Surfer. The Fantastic Four number 49 from 1966 is when he's on there. And then, of course, The Coming of Galactus. It's all in there for you to read. So, yeah, I've told you this before. If you want to read about all this stuff, you want to check this out, get the Marvel Unlimited app. You won't be sorry. And I'm going to look at the pull list for the week. So the comics I'm reading this week. Ultimate Spider-Man, which is coming to an end. I'm very sad about that. Only 8 issues left. Is at number 16, which I have not read yet. Avengers Academy is new this week, number 54. Astonishing Miles Morales is number 1. That's a new book. Rogue Savage Land, number 2025. That's issue number 4. Star Wars The High Republic is issue number 3. NYX, issue number 10. TVA, which I will read, that is issue number 5. That's a good comic. I'm enjoying that. Fantastic Four, which I've been reading, is issue number 31. That ties in with the Doom storyline. Hell Hunters, issue number 5. Red Hulk, which I've been reading because Rom is in it. Not Rom, Machine Man. Machine Man is in it. That's up to issue number 3, and that ties in with the Doom storyline as well. Weapon X-Men is up to issue number 3. Thunderbolts Doomstrike, issue number 3. That ties in with Doom. Godzilla versus Spider-Man's fighting everybody. Spider-Man had Predator last week, and now he's doing Godzilla as well. Fighting Godzilla. Wolverine and Kitty Pryde, issue number 1. So that's a new book. Doom Academy, issue number 3. Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker adaptation is up to issue number 3. Doom's Division, issue number 2. A lot of Doom stuff this week. Astonishing X-Men Infinity Comic, that's only for the app. That is with Venom. Herbie for the app as well. That's up to issue number 9. Marvel Rivals is up to issue number 13. And Astonishing Avengers Infinity Comic up to issue number 24. All right, that is it for the comics section of it. We're going to go to the MCU Minute, and this is just all about Spider-Man, guys. They just wrapped up the Punisher special. So the Punisher Marvel special just finished up. This is the article is from Superhero Hype. And according to a recent report from World of Real, legendary cinematographer Robert Elswit was responsible for cinematography in the upcoming Punisher special. The Oscar winner was a cinematographer on films like There Will Be Blood, Punch Drunk Love, Nightcrawler, and Ella McKay, and is best known for his work alongside director Paul Thomas Anderson. Punisher special is currently wrapped in mystery, but we know it will see John Barenthal reprise his role as Frank Castle. The special finished wrapped filming, so we should see more information about the project soon. According to earlier reports, the special is likely to focus on Castle as he tries to escape Wilson Fisk's prison. Outside of Barenthal, casting for this special has also been secretive. Reports suggest that Marvel Comics character Ma Nucci will be involved in some way, though nothing's been confirmed as of yet. So Disney Plus release date has not been set, though it is expected to arrive in 2026. Let's see here. A new look at Spider-Man swinging on the set of Brand New Day. I mean, this has been all over the place, guys. If you want to avoid spoilers, you're going to have to avoid all the socials, because what Sony's basically trying to do is get ahead of all the spoilers. So they have done little announcements on their YouTube of Tom Holland in the new suit, which looks amazing. It does look like the one he wore at the end of the last Spider-Man, the No Way Home. Where we saw him, where we were thinking he was going to be grounded, and it certainly looks like it's going to be. But the suit has raised webbing, much like Tobey Maguire's and Andrew Garfield's suit. He also has web shooters on his wrist. You can see the metal web shooters, which is awesome. But the suit looks great, and they are showing him web swinging from a crane, so they're using practical web slinging effects. Which the last director of the films did not want to do. He said it didn't look good, and he wanted to use all special effects to do it instead of use practical. But he is now, he was swinging from stuff. They were showing him aboard a tank that's coming down the street of New York City. The tank has a little demon symbol on it, which many people presume to be Mr. Negative, because they use that little red symbol. But some are also speculating that it could be John Barenthal's Punisher, who is indeed on set as well. Mark Ruffalo is also there. He will be reprising the Hulk, and the Hulk is supposed to be Savage Hulk. So what makes him into Savage Hulk, we don't know. The actor who played the Scorpion in the original Spider-Man film is also back in this. And he is supposed to be in the Scorpion costume or some form of it. In this film, there are also other bad guys that are rumored, including possibly Mr. Negative, also possibly Boomerang. Tarantula has been rumored as well. So it definitely does look like, at least for part of it, that is going to be a lot of street level stuff that's going on in this. So yeah, I mean it's looking pretty good for Spider-Man, and I'm sure, even though the Fantastic Four has definitely tanked, the second week really lost. It did not earn a ton of money at all. The first week did pretty well, but then the second week was just awful. It was a huge drop, and a record-breaking drop, I think, for the MCU. So it's got a lot of those people naysaying that the MCU is dying and all this kind of stuff. I don't necessarily think that that's true. I think what it is really is, I think there's a few factors. Number one, I think that regardless of whether or not I love it, I think Fantastic Four is not a huge draw for probably non-fans of that they're not really big fans of Marvel. Not like a Spider-Man movie is going to draw, or an Iron Man movie is going to draw, things like that. They're just not, people just are not that conditioned to the Fantastic Four. Now, Pedro Pascal is a big name, but he's been in so many things recently that I'm not so sure if that name was just enough to just draw Pedro Pascal fans. But in any case, I think the other reason too has a lot to do with the economy, guys, and where we're seeing our economy right now. Man, I just out of the blue, I went to the grocery store yesterday. I got like 2.5 bags worth of groceries, and I paid like $60, almost $70. So it's rough out there, and it's rough for everyone. And what one of the people said was, taking a family of, let's say, family of 4 or family of 3, whatever, to see a movie today is going to cost you, $14, $15 if you're going to see it in IMAX, and maybe more. So figure in, $14 a ticket for each person. That's, let's just say, round it up, $15, $30, $45. That's not including the snacks and stuff you're going to buy. Some people take snacks now to movies, but a lot of them are going to buy popcorn. A lot of them are going to buy a drink. That's going to factor in another probably $20 or more if you're going to feed everybody. So you can probably easily spend close to $75 to $100 in a movie theater. And I really just think that these movies are suffering because people just can't afford it. Now, I think the other reason why, and this was brought up on one of the YouTube videos that I watched too, but I think another reason and another thing that hurt it, I think, was the fact that it came out only weeks after Superman did. And I had told you guys that when I went to see it, I loved it. I thought it was great, but I also didn't come away with the same kind of like feelings that I had when I saw Superman. And I think that makes a good point. I think because Superman came out and had all these kind of like feelings that it gave people. And I think Fantastic Four would have been better served maybe waiting until, or maybe even pushing it up and coming out with it beforehand, or pushing it back and coming out in like now, like in the middle of August or the end of August. Still would be a summer movie. And coming out now, I think would have better served it. Get a little away from Superman, because it was such a big deal for DC, and it was very good. But I think it would have been better served coming out a little bit later. The other thing I think hurt it too, and we're going to see this when, of course, the Blu-ray comes out, but I think that the cut scenes hurt it too, because they did cut quite a bit of it, and they really sped up the beginning. Now, I get it. They don't need to show the origin story, but, kind of like what Superman did with his, where it kind of cut to him losing his first battle. I think they could have maybe afforded to show just a little more of the fights that they had, rather than just showing Mr. Fantastic hitting the ape and knocking the ape off the bridge. It's just little tiny snippets here and there. I think it would have been cool to show like more of the Giganto battle, or just like pick one of them, bring back, show the man-ape battle, show the mole-man battle. Just show like maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes of them fighting, not just like little 2-second clips or 3-second clips. I think they would have been a little better served with that, because it provides more of an introduction, I think, to the characters. And if you're kind of going in blind, and a lot of people from this generation, let's face it, they may have never seen the Fantastic Four online. I know a lot of the kids, especially like the younger kids and stuff like that, probably never watched the 90s ones, because their parents are going to show them either maybe because they think they're silly, but a lot of them wouldn't have maybe even watched those films prior to seeing this one. So this is their first iteration of seeing the Fantastic Four on a screen. So they might have been better served at getting a little bit of a better introduction. I'm not saying you had to do an origin, but just seeing like some of those fights a little more drawn out, I think would have served it a little better. So maybe made it a little bit longer. Maybe put an extra half hour in it. Make it 2 hours and 15 minutes instead of just like the 1 hour and 50 minutes or so that it ended up being. I think would have served it a little bit better. But I think that's may have been some of the reasons why it really fell off. Because, I mean, look, the first week, you're always going to have the big results, especially with superhero flicks and stuff like that. Because, look, nerds like me and everybody that are out there, like you guys that listen, that are playing Marvel Snap and all that, you are their target audience. You're the guys that are going to go see it regardless. I'm going to see it regardless of whether or not I hear it's good or bad. Because that's just it. I've seen every single Marvel thing. I've watched every single Marvel thing on Disney Plus, everything. I've seen them all. I don't miss any of it. So now I think the only one I haven't watched is Eyes of Wakanda. I haven't seen that yet, but I'll probably end up watching, because I just watch it all. I take it all in. And many of us do too, but those people aren't necessarily people that are going to sustain it. It's going to be like families. It's going to be people that are taking kids, right? That are going to take kids to a superhero film like my dad used to. And they're not necessarily going to be people that are even going to go. And now a lot of times, because of the costs, they're going to be like, well, this is going to be out and, this is going to be on Disney Plus in 3 months. We have Disney Plus. We're already paying for that. So we're not going to blow all this money on the movie. We'll just watch it at home. I think that's probably doing it too. So I think there's just a lot of factors that are going into this that are hurting it. That said, Spider-Man, I think, will be a big, big moneymaker for them. It's looking like it's going to be really, really good from what I've seen and stuff like that. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to be looking for that. In the meantime, there are still these Disney Plus series that are getting released. I don't know, maybe a solution to that would maybe cut some of them too. Wonder Man, I mean, I know it's already done, it's already filmed and everything like that, but that's going to be another one that probably no one's going to watch except for complete diehards. And Marvel Zombies will attract some people just simply because it's zombies. But I'd be curious to see who watches this Eyes of Wakanda series and stuff like that. So, X-Men 97 attracted a bunch of people to watch because it's X-Men. But again, I think they might be better served in the future to cut down on these Disney Plus things if they want their movies to succeed. So, but anyway, the Spider-Man stuff is everywhere. So if you don't want to be spoiled, I mean, if you don't want any spoilers, if you don't want to see the costume, if you don't want any of that, you're going to have to avoid YouTube, Twitter, and all that stuff like the plague because it is everywhere right now. But the things I'm seeing, I'm excited. I think Spider-Man is going to be very, very good. Comes out in July of next year. And I'm sure it's going to lead into Secret War somehow. Maybe some people were saying maybe they'll even have like a scene where Johnny Storm is in it at the very end or something like that. But this is going to be our lead into Doomsday. So you're going to get, and probably it may not even be into Doomsday. It might be more into Secret War because I don't know if Spider-Man, Tom Holland was not introduced in that casting chair for Doomsday, so he may not be in it. This may be the introduction to Secret War is what we're getting from that. And so, Doomsday may not feature those guys. It may just focus on the old teams. We already know they're all in it, right? The old X-Men and stuff, and may focus on the current Avengers teams and stuff like that. And of course, the Thunderbolts are in it and stuff that way. So it may not have some of the newer people in it. So that is going to do it for the MCU Minute. That's generally what's all over the MCU right now is just the stuff about Spider-Man for the most part, because that's really what they've got left to do as far as the movie is coming out. All right. We are going to the finale here, and we are going to my first iteration, and I need a name for this. Give me... You know what, guys? Come up with a name. Come up with a good name for this segment. It's a guess the lyric segment, but I need something superhero-ish. So if you can pick something out that it works for superhero-ish, please comment. Leave me a comment on Discord. Like I said, all those places you can comment to me. Give me a comment, and of course, I will use the name going forward for the segment. But this is my first guess the lyric segment. And I think this is a pretty easy one to recognize, but this is a first, the lyric segment or guess the lyric segment that I need a title for. So please come up with a title. Those of you that listen to me that do these other podcasts too in the Snap Judgments network of podcasts before I go, of course, Kier Nimbus. Podcast that is out every single week on a Saturday. Kier does a very cool short form podcast about all things Marvel Snap. I'm sure he'll have his card ranks this week and all that stuff. And he'll talk about the new season as well. So check out Kier. Snap on this. It's just Lauren Whatevs and Ben Roller are coming up on their celebration of their 50th episode. So make sure you go and post some questions for them for that. They're doing a Q&A, which I already did 3, one for each member. But they are amazing as well. And of course, the grandfather of all the pods, the Snap Judgments podcast with Glazer and Roy and his amazing guests that he has on that show. That comes out every Saturday. So go and check out that as well. But all of you, if you are listening to me right now, I would love your input too. And you are more than welcome to play guess the lyric as well that are music fans, because you, of course, it's the Snap on This Guy's kind of inspired this portion of the show. But why not? I'm a DJ. Lyrics, music just goes together, right? All right, here we go, guys. These are the lyrics from my first lyrical guess contest, and somebody needs to come up with a name. Get me a name. All right, ready? Here we go. Now, I'm not going to start with the first lyrics in the song because that'd be, I think, too easy. So here we go. First one. Guess the lyric. Let me know what song this is. What song and what band? What song and what band? So needless to say, I'm odds and ends, but I'll be stumbling away, slowly learning that life is okay. Say after me, it's no better to be safe than sorry. There you go. I think this is an easy one. Huge, huge hit. If I tell you the year, it's going to be too easy, but it is from the 80s. But huge, huge hit. I played this one on my show many times. And yeah, was an absolute stalwart on MTV. So let me know what it is. Guess the lyric. Tell me who it is. Tell me the name of the song. Tell me the band, and get me a title for God's sake, because this one I just need one. If you can, like I said, if you can figure out something superhero related that would relate to it, or my title of my show, whatever that would relate to the lyric thing, get me that. However you want to do it. And I welcome any guesses. I will pick the one I like the best, and I will announce that. You are awesome for doing so. Remember, get me those listener call-in questions. I had 2 this week. I love it. Thank you so much. Sorry for going overtime with this one. It's a long one, but we had a lot to do and a lot to cover with all the new cards that are out this week. I love talking about Galactus as much as I can. My popcorn bucket is up and lit up both eyes and stuff now, so that's amazing. One day I'll show it to you. I'll do a YouTube video again soon, I promise. I will have some people join me on there, and I will do a YouTube video. In fact, I am off next Monday. You know what? I'm going to plan guests. I had guests already that I've been talking to. So I'm going to plan some guests. I'm going to get some guests on next Monday, and I'll have the Galactus popcorn bucket on that. So that's more reason for you to watch and check it out. All right, guys, that is going to do it for me for this episode of Snap Decisions. Have a great week with the new cards, and play Galactus. Why don't you? Please stay safe. Be kind to one another always, and hopefully I will talk to you all on the next episode of Snap Decisions. Have a great week, and hopefully I'll talk to you all soon. This is your Snap DJ, signing off.